Chapter 1700. Rumble. Translator, Transin editor. Transin. The flipping sky seal contained hundreds of millions of tons of divine power. It was activated by Ling Xiao at this moment and radiated with divine light. It was as if it had been completely revived. Huang Tai's palm landed on the flipping sky seal. In an instant, boundless thunderbolts exploded. The flipping sky seal shook violently. Runes and divine lights exploded one after another. Cracks appeared in the void above. Thunder Spirit King, who was in the flipping sky seal, shone with hundreds of millions of divine lights. He activated the flipping sky seal to the extreme and annihilated all the thunderbolts in the sky. However, those thunderbolts were all Thunder Principle origin energy. They even tried to enter the flipping sky seal to kill Thunder Spirit King. However, they were all annihilated by the flipping sky seal. Ling Xiao's body shook violently and he was sent flying. You have completely mastered the power of the flipping sky seal. How is this possible? Huang Tai's eyes revealed a trace of shock. He had just directly activated the power of the Thunder Dao fruit. That attack was terrifying. Even an ordinary saint would find it difficult to withstand it, let alone Ling Xiao. He did not expect that it would be so easily neutralized by the flipping sky seal. Huang Tai could feel that Ling Xiao had completely activated the power of the flipping sky seal. He could even feel the fluctuation of the artifact spirit. This supreme treasure already had an artifact spirit. Completely mastered the flipping sky seal? It's true. Lei Qinjue took a deep breath and his eyes turned solemn. Artifact spirit? The white-clothed war god's eyes flashed with admiration. Lu Wenzheng and the others, who had been worried about Ling Xiao, finally heaved a sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Ling Xiao had created an almost impossible miracle as a great perfection god king by forcefully withstanding Huang Tai's attack. More and more disciples of the war god hall became hopeful for him. Nothing is impossible. Ling Xiao's qi and blood were boiling, and he felt his body trembling. Although he was protected by the flipping sky seal, he could still feel the invincible saint aura from Huang Tai. Without the flipping sky seal, he would have been annihilated into dust no matter how strong his body was. However, Ling Xiao had benefited a lot from this attack. Ling Xiao had obtained the legacy of the Lightning Arch technique and the Divine Firmament Lightning Dao from the Divine Firmament Saint. These two supreme sage techniques contain the power of the Lightning Dao. Meanwhile, Huang Tai had formed the Lightning Dao fruit. Ling Xiao's understanding of the Lightning Dao had improved by leaps and bounds after exchanging blows with Huang Tai. The sudden burst of inspiration had given him many insights. So he was not satisfied with the sky seal had sky seal. Lei Qinjue said slowly as a serious look appeared in his eyes. Huang Tai was extremely powerful. Not only had he condensed the Thunder Dao fruit, but he had also condensed the Flame Dao fruit. The yellow sacred fire was not only the supreme sacred fire that Huang Tai used to refine elixirs, but it also had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Boom! The royal sacred fire was dazzling. It contained a majestic and mysterious light, distorting the void around it. Everyone's expression changed. Was Long Outyin really going to die? Even the white-clothed war god's eyes lit up. Just as he was about to attack, his eyes flashed with a thoughtful look. He could not help but stop. Boom! Rumble! Chapter 1701. Buzz. The mountain began to tremble violently. Mysterious talismans flew out from it. They were as dazzling as the flying immortal light. All of them merged into the flipping sky seal, causing its aura to soar to a terrifying level. The entire war mountain became sparkling and translucent like glass. A mysterious power was awakened, turning into an ocean of laws. Ling Xiao was shrouded in blazing flames. The true meaning of the Great Path seemed to have integrated into his body at this moment. His eyes were extremely bright and resplendent. He raised the vast flipping sky seal and smashed it directly at Huang Tai. Saint Path resonance? Oh no. Huang Tai's expression changed drastically. It was as if he had seen a scene from 1,000,000 years ago. His calm heart trembled violently as he felt a monstrous killing intent enveloping him. 1,000,000 years ago, a peerless figure wielded the flipping sky seal and fought against all the saints. He even killed many of them, causing them to bleed on War Mountain. That battle caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. War Mountain was dyed red. At that time, Huang Tai was only a teenager. However, the peerless and invincible demeanor of that figure was deeply engraved in his heart. Now, Ling Zhao's figure seemed to have overlapped with that figure. Open up! Terrifying saint aura erupted from Huang Tai. Light shone above his head as if there were two dazzling suns floating. One was a thunder Dao fruit while the other was a flame Dao fruit. They intertwined to form a powerful saint path boundary. At the same time, a light flashed in Huang Tai's palm. A crimson cauldron appeared, exuding majestic saint light. It smashed toward the flipping sky seal. Huang Tai even took out the ultimate emperor cauldron? He's going to go all out. Some people looked shocked. 2 fruits of the way had appeared, and he had even activated the ultimate royal cauldron. Huang Tai looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Everyone was shocked. Long Outyen has resonated with the saint path. That's the saint imprint. It's as if all the saints are activating the flipping sky seal. How can Huang Tai not be afraid? Have you forgotten the Scarlet Dragon war god from 1,000,000 years ago? An old man with white hair and a beard in a black Taoist robe sighed softly. Master of the Yin Hall, greets the Hall Master. Everyone was shocked. This white-haired old man was the master of the Yin Hall, Cheng Changkong. He was also Qing Ying's father and a saint ancestor. They didn't expect him to be alarmed as well. However, everyone's attention was immediately drawn to the meaning behind Cheng Changkong's words. 1,000,000 years ago, the Scarlet Dragon war god had used the cyclic sky seal to trigger the resonance of the Saint Dao. Afterwards, he had killed numerous saints, shocking the entire god realm. The void shattered with a loud bang. The boundless turbulence of the void trembled, causing the surrounding heavens and earth to howl violently. The ultimate power of the flipping sky seal seemed to have awakened. It collided with the ultimate royal tripod, causing it to tremble violently. Runes exploded one after another. Flames and lightning intertwined, setting off a terrifying divine light storm. Boom! The ultimate emperor cauldron was sent flying, and its light dimmed. Huang Tai trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened. Everyone was petrified. Who was that? The supreme elder of the 9 imperial obelisk, the alchemy saint, Huang Tai, was injured by Ling Xiao. Everyone felt that it was unreal. Everything in front of them was too shocking. Ling Xiao, who was at the Divine King realm, used the flipping sky seal to injure Huang Tai. It was a magnificent feat that no one dared to imagine. It could be said that it was a miracle. This kid is too impulsive. Lu Wenjing scolded with a smile. The huge rock in his heart was finally lifted, and his face was filled with unconcealable pride. Old man, stop pretending. Are you very proud? My brother has made your battle hall so proud. Can you give me that Saint Heart grass of yours? The black donkey licked his lips and moved forward, staring at Lu Wenjing. Scram! Lu Wenjing's smile froze, and he suddenly felt black lines on his forehead. This black donkey's mouth was too cheap. He kicked the black donkey away. Fine, I won't give it to you. Stingy. The black donkey rolled a few times, stood up from the ground, and muttered softly. Everyone was very excited. All the disciples and elders of the War God Temple were cheering for this moment. At this moment, when they thought about Ling Xiao's words, they realized that it wasn't arrogance, but confidence. Ling Xiao wanted to use this battle to tell everyone. Those who offend the War God Temple, even if they are saints, will have to pay the price. Boom! Huang Tai's body was surrounded by dazzling divine light. He breathed in heavenly essence, exuding the aura of wind and thunder, causing the void to tremble slightly. The injuries on his body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, there was a trace of pain in his eyes. The foundation of the Extreme Emperor Cauldron was damaged by the Flipping Sky Seal. Although they were both saint treasures, the Flipping Sky Seal and the Extreme Emperor Cauldron were naturally different. In order to restore the extreme Emperor Cauldron to its original state, Huang Tai would have to spend a few hundred years nurturing it. This time, not only did Huang Tai lose face, but even the extreme Emperor Cauldron was damaged. It could be said that he had suffered a great loss. Flipping Sky Seal. St. Dao Resonance. Great. Very good. Long Out Yen, this old man will remember you. War God, this old man will take his leave. Huang Tai was so angry that he laughed. His eyes were extremely gloomy, revealing a trace of undisguised killing intent. He then looked coldly at the war god in white, rolled up his sleeves, and left the war god temple with Huang Yu and Huang Wudao. He was too ashamed to continue staying here. As a saint, he had been injured by an immortal king. If this news spread, Huang Tai's reputation would be ruined. The war god in white's eyes were calm and deep. He glanced at Huang Tai indifferently with a trace of coldness in his eyes. Zhan Tianxing, Lei Qinjue, Xing Jun, and the others' expressions were extremely ugly. They were like frosted eggplants. Their hearts were filled with reluctance, but there was nothing they could do. They knew that this battle had brought Ling Zhao's prestige in the War God Temple to the peak, just as Lei Qinjue had predicted. Next, it was only logical that he would become the War God Temple's master. They did not even have the ability to stop him. At this moment, 3 powerful auras swept across the sky. They quickly arrived at the War Mountain and stood in front of Ling Zhao. They were 2 men and a woman. Both of them looked to be in their 20s. One of them was wearing a red robe, while the other was wearing a black armor. Both of them were tall and handsome. Both of them had reached the 7th Revolution half-saint realm. The woman was wearing a white dress. Her temperament was extraordinary and elegant. Her skin was sparkling and translucent like jade. She had a flawless face. She looked graceful and magnanimous. She had an aura of being detached from the world. Her eyes were sky blue, as bright as gems. Her gaze was full of curiosity as she looked at Ling Zhao. Chapter 1702. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat as he quickly guessed the identities of these 3 people. In the entire War God Hall, there were only 3 saints whose cultivation had surpassed the 7th Revolution half-saint at such a young age. Enai Shang from the Heaven Hall, Wu Xiong from the Earth Hall, and Gao Yang from the Yang Hall. These 3 saints were extremely talented and powerful. They were known as the future hope of the War God Hall. Ling Zhao could feel that the 3 of them were exuberant and had powerful bloodlines. They exuded the true meaning of the Great Path. Even if they were to face a 9th Revolution half-saint, they would be able to put up a fight. These were the true prodigies. Junior Brother Long, as a divine king, you defeated Huang Wudao in 3 moves and even injured Huang Tai. You have created a miracle and lifted the spirits of the War God Hall. Good job. Wu Xiong, who was dressed in black armor, had an incomparably sincere expression on his face as he spoke seriously. That's right. Junior Brother Long not only has an extraordinary innate talent, but his eloquence is also formidable. Listening to him scolding that old bastard Huang Tai was really fucking delightful. I would have gone up and beaten that old bastard up if it weren't for my insufficient strength. Gao Yang, who was dressed in a red robe, looked carefree and unrestrained. He patted Ling Zhao's shoulder and laughed heartily. Senior brothers, you flatter me. I was just doing my duty as a disciple of the War God Hall. Ling Zhao said with a smile. He could feel the goodwill of these 2 saints, which made him feel gratified. Fortunately, not everyone in the War God Hall was like Zhan Tianxing and Lei Qinjue. Well said. Duty? How many people are able to do their duty? I can't stand those cowards who only know how to boost the morale of others and diminish their own prestige. Gao Yang sneered and glanced at Zhan Tianxing maliciously. Zhan Tianxing's body stiffened, and his eyes were filled with shame and anger. He hated Ling Zhao even more. Ling Zhao was in the limelight today, but all of this should have been Zhan Tianxing's. If Ling Zhao had not snatched the flipping sky seal from him, Ling Zhao would not have had the chance to do so. His heart was filled with hatred and jealousy. Junior Brother Long, well done. Enai Shang said softly, and her eyes were filled with admiration. Her voice was clear and ethereal, and she smiled faintly. This smile instantly caused the world to lose its color. "Many thanks, senior sister Enai Shang," Ling Xiao said with a smile. Enai Shang was the legend of the War God Temple, and also the goddess in the hearts of everyone in the War God Temple. She was extremely beautiful and had an extraordinary temperament. In Ling Xiao's opinion, only the Xian king Ji Feishuan could be compared to her. For hundreds of thousands of years, the god of war had only taken in 2 disciples. One was the current deputy hall master of the heavenly hall, Yang Fan, and the other was Enai Shang. It was said that Enai Shang wasn't even 100 years old yet. She possessed great talent and was able to control the power of time. Therefore, her attainments in the art of aging eternity were extremely deep. Ling Xiao was even wondering if Enai Shang had also obtained the inheritance of menstruation. However, Enai Shang looked like a deep pool of water, and Ling Xiao couldn't tell how deep she was. "My holy maiden, I've never seen her smile before." She actually smiled at junior brother Long? Wu Xiong pretended to be jealous and sighed. "You're so ugly. Enai Shang can't smile even if she wants to. Only junior brother Long's peerless demeanor can make Enai Shang smile." Gao Yang couldn't help but strike a blow. "Scram!" Wu Xiong pretended to be indignant. Ling Xiao smiled inwardly. It seemed that the 3 holy sons had a good relationship. That was why they could joke around so casually. "Long Out Yen." An ethereal and clear voice rang out from the War Mountain. Everyone immediately quieted down and looked respectfully at the white-clothed god of war. They had already guessed what the white-clothed god of war wanted to say. "As a disciple of the War Hall, you've successfully obtained the inheritance of the Flipping Sky Seal. Furthermore, you're not afraid of strong enemies. You've protected the dignity of the War Hall and made a great contribution. I hereby promote you to the Lord of the War Hall. I hope that you will work hard in your cultivation and bring the War Hall to greater heights and restore its former glory." The white-clothed god of war's voice was very calm, but it was no different from a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in everyone's hearts. "The Lord of the War Hall." These 4 words carried a lot of weight. Everyone knew that in the 9 branches of the War Hall, the god of war was the most respected. Apart from the god of war, the lords of the 9 branches and the supreme elders had the highest status. Even the holy sons were only disciples, comparable to the deputy lord of the War Hall. They still had to salute the Lord of the War Hall. It could be said that Ling Xiao had leaped to the top of the entire War Hall. He was one of the few people with the highest status, comparable to the supreme elders of the Saint Realm. Although they had already guessed this result, after hearing it now, Zhang Tianxing, Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others' faces were extremely gloomy. Especially Zhang Tianxing, whose fingernails were deeply embedded in his flesh. His face was extremely twisted, and he was about to go crazy with jealousy. From now on, Ling Zhao's status was no longer a constraint. Even Zhang Tianxing and Lei Qianjue had to salute him when they saw him. In addition, Long Outyen obtained the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon God of War in the Flipping Sky Seal. With the approval of the Flipping Sky Seal, he is now the successor disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War. So from now on, Long Outyen's seniority is the same as Uncle Lu's. All disciples have to obey him. The white-clothed war god said slowly and released another piece of news, which suddenly shocked everyone. The successor disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War? The Scarlet Dragon God of War was a peerless figure 1,000,000 years ago. Even the white-clothed war god of war had to call him Uncle Master. Therefore, although Lu Wenjing was the nominal disciple of the Scarlet Dragon God of War, the white-clothed war god of war had to call him Uncle Master. Didn't that mean that Long Outyen had become the junior uncle of the War God of War? The numerous disciples of the War God Temple, regardless of whether they are inner court disciples or true disciples, all have to address Long Outyen as martial granduncle. This seniority was so high that it scared people to death. However, in the War God Temple, the War God of War had supreme majesty and power. Since she had announced and acknowledged it, there was no right to oppose. Even if they were unwilling, they could only pinch their noses and accept it. The War God of War is right. Junior brother, why are you still standing there? Hurry up and thank the war god of war. Lu Wenzheng was extremely excited. Ling Zhao's identity as the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon god of war was finally confirmed. He had another layer of insurance in the future. Thank you, the war god of war. Ling Xiao was also a little stunned. After a while, he reacted and bowed to the white-clothed war god of war. Ling Xiao could understand letting him become the master of the war god of war, but the white-clothed war god of war actually gave him the identity of the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon god of war. It was equivalent to giving him the title of junior uncle. Ling Xiao could not understand what the white-clothed war god was trying to do. Lei Qinjue and Xing Jun's faces were extremely ugly, because from now on, they not only had to bow to Ling Xiao, but they also had to call him Uncle Master. This was even more unbearable than killing them. The Uncle Master? Puff! Zhan Tianxing was so angry that he muttered to himself. Then, his vision turned black and he directly fainted. Chapter 1703. Senior Uncle Long, you've really gone overboard this time. Gao Yang said with his eyes wide open. His face was filled with a bitter smile. Just a second ago, they were still addressing Ling Xiao as Junior Brother Long, but in the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao had become their Senior Uncle Long. It was indeed hard for them to accept. Senior Brother Gao, Senior Brother Wu, Senior Sister Ni Shang. I didn't expect it to be like this. Why don't we address each other separately? Anyway, cultivators like us don't need to be constrained by seniority. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. Don't. Senior Uncle Long, if we dare to address you as junior brother, wouldn't our master beat us to death? Senior Uncle Long, so be it. Who asked you to become the battle hall master? Wu Xiong smiled bitterly. Senior Uncle Long, let's not be so formal about seniority. This time, we have something to ask you to go with us. I wonder if you're interested? Ni Shang smiled as if she didn't have any objection to Ling Xiao becoming a Senior Uncle Long. She accepted it very naturally. What is it? Ling Xiao asked curiously. The great Zhou divine nation of the Grand Heavens region has a martial hidden mountain that will open soon. Legend has it that there is a flawless secret skill hidden in the martial hidden mountain. We're planning to take a look at the martial hidden mountain. I wonder if you're interested. Ni Shang said slowly. Martial hidden mountain? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and he couldn't help but glance at the Xian King Ji Feishuan in the distance. Ji Feishuan was the princess of the great Zhou divine nation. She had told Ling Xiao that there was a flawless secret skill in the martial hidden mountain, but he didn't expect the martial hidden mountain of the great Zhou divine nation to open soon. Ling Xiao was naturally very interested in the flawless secret skill. The various secret skills in the wordless heavenly book were extremely useful to him, especially the Tiangang secret skill. Every time he obtained one, his strength would increase greatly. I'm indeed interested. Ling Xiao nodded and said, it should be in the next 1 to 2 months. We're preparing to set off in a month. If Senior Uncle Long is interested, we'll go together then. Ni Shang smiled faintly. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. In that case, we'll take our leave first. When Martial Granduncle Long's promotion ceremony begins, we'll come again to celebrate. Ni Shang, Wu Xiong, and Gao Yang quickly left the War Mountain. They agreed to meet again after the promotion ceremony. In the War God Temple, the promotion of a Hall Master was an extremely important event, second only to the promotion ceremony of the War God Supreme. A grand ceremony had to be held to celebrate it. It was also the glory of the 9 branches, representing the birth of the new Hall Masters. Ling Xiao was already the Battle Hall Master, and the elders of the sect were planning to prepare a promotion ceremony for him. It should be held in a few days. At that time, the hundreds of thousands of disciples of the Battle God Shrine would participate, and the other 8 Hall Masters would also appear. With the departure of the white-clothed war god, everyone also slowly retreated. The same thought appeared in their minds. From today onwards, the battle hall would truly rise. The scene of Ling Xiao injuring Elder Huang Tai with the flipping sky seal was deeply engraved in everyone's hearts. Ling Xiao had also used this battle to establish his prestige. At this moment, Ling Zhao's position in the hearts of many disciples and elders was not any weaker than that of the three saints. Let's go! Lei Qinjue looked deeply at Ling Xiao and left with Zhan Tianxing, who had fainted from anger. This time, it could be said that they were disheartened. They wanted to see Ling Xiao make a fool of himself, but in the end, not only did they not see anything, but they were also ruthlessly slapped in the face by Ling Xiao. Especially when they thought about how they would have to call Ling Xiao martial uncle in the future, even Lei Qinjue and Xing Jun's faces turned pale. Soon, only Ling Xiao, Lu Wenjing, Tian Gang, and the other members of the battle hall were left on the war mountain. Lu Wenjing, Tian Gang, and the others looked at each other and smiled. Then, they bowed to Ling Xiao at the same time and said, "Greetings, Hall Master." "What Palace Master? You're really making me look bad. Everyone here is on the same side, so there's no need to be so polite," Ling Xiao said with a wry smile. Ling Xiao was not used to suddenly becoming the Hall Master of the Battle Hall, and his status was even higher by a few generations. However, he also knew that the burden on his shoulders had become heavier. As the Hall Master of the Battle Hall, he had to fulfill the dying wish of the Scarlet Dragon God of War and restore the glory of the Battle Hall to the glory of 1,000,000 years ago. Little junior brother, I didn't expect you to not only completely refine the flipping sky seal, but also to be able to resonate with the saint path. Even Huang Tai, that old man, was chased away by you. If Master knew about this in the underworld, he would be very happy, Lu Wenjing said with great relief. His life's dream was to see the battle hall restored to its former glory, and today he finally saw hope in Ling Xiao. Senior brother, I was just lucky. The weapon spirit of the flipping sky seal had disappeared long ago. I turned the Thunder Spirit King into the weapon spirit of the flipping sky seal, and only then was I able to completely control the flipping sky seal, Ling Xiao said with a smile. He then told them about what had happened in the flipping sky seal. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the world in the flipping sky seal to be so mysterious. There was actually a world of death inside. Palace Master, I didn't expect the world in the flipping sky seal to be so dangerous. Zhan Tianxing is indeed from the bloodline of the war tribe. If you hadn't obtained the red spider lily, I'm afraid the flipping sky seal would have fallen into his hands, Tian Gang said with some emotion. Everyone nodded in agreement. If Zhan Tianxing had obtained the flipping sky seal, they would be in big trouble. Now that Zhan Tianxing had become the Hall Master of the Battle Hall, the rest of them would probably be in a miserable state. After all, Zhan Tianxing was a member of the Thunder Hall. Naturally, he wouldn't think of the Battle Hall wholeheartedly. Kid, although you have control of the flipping sky seal, you can't be so arrogant. This treasure should be placed on the Battle Mountain. When it resonates with the Saint Path, it will be able to unleash its greatest power. If you were to face a true saint outside of the Battle God Hall, it's hard to say who would win, Black Donkey said slowly. He had seen through Ling Zhao's strength at a glance. Although the flipping sky seal was powerful, it was just an external object. Moreover, with Ling Zhao's current cultivation, he didn't have the strength to fully control the flipping sky seal. I know. The flipping sky seal is just a means. Personal strength is the foundation. Senior brothers, you have all reached the great divine king realm. As long as you comprehend your own saint path, you will be able to break through to the sage-to-be realm. You are all the future and hope of the battle hall. The revival of the battle hall will depend on everyone's efforts, Ling Xiao said with a smile. This time, it wasn't just him. Everyone in the Battle God Hall had also obtained a great opportunity. They had refined the great Tao precepts and true intent and were on the verge of a breakthrough. Soon, the Battle Hall would have more than a dozen sage-to-be experts. Chapter 1704. The news that Ling Xiao had become the Battle Hall Master had spread across the entire War God Temple. Countless disciples and elders were excited. Some were doubtful, some were envious, and some were jealous. Everyone was talking about it. Most importantly, Ling Xiao was only a divine king, not even a half-saint. Many people were not convinced that such a person could become the Battle Hall Master. After all, when the other temple masters became temple masters, Almost all of them had reached the saint realm. At the very least, they were ninth revolution half-saints. It was hard not to doubt that a divine king could become the battle hall master. Those who saw the battle between Ling Xiao and Huang Tai on War Mountain didn't have any doubts about the result. On the contrary, they were extremely excited and regarded Ling Xiao as their idol. Saints had always been the synonym of invincibility in everyone's heart. However, Ling Xiao, a divine king, had crossed over a dozen small realms and defied the heavens to injure Huang Tai. This gave the disciples of the War God Temple great confidence. Perhaps one day, they would also be able to attain the Tao and become a sage, or even kill a sage. This confidence was very important. It made the entire War God Temple full of vitality. The War God Temple's battle intent that had been passed down for a long time was surging. It was as if the spirit that flowed in the blood of the War God Temple had been awakened. Many elders and hall masters noticed this change. They were extremely excited and gratified. At the same time, their resistance to calling Ling Xiao martial uncle had decreased a lot. This sense of belonging and recognition towards the sect was the key to an immortal sacred land's everlasting prosperity. Therefore, when they knew that Ling Xiao's promotion ceremony would be held 3 days later, the entire War God Temple was in an uproar. Even many disciples and elders who were in seclusion or doing missions came out of seclusion or returned to the sect to participate in the ceremony. Battle Hall. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the battle hall, digesting the gains from the battle. At the same time, there was a dense wave of breakthrough energy around him. Ling Xiao's cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the divine king realm. If he did not suppress it, he could have gone through the nirvana tribulation and broken through to the half-saint realm. However, Ling Xiao was still refining his body and cultivation. He wanted to reach a perfect state. Thunder Spirit King, when can you break through to the saint realm? The flipping sky seal floated above Ling Xiao's head, sprinkling dazzling light. Ling Xiao's soul spirit was talking to the Thunder Spirit King. Master, I've completely refined the Tao fruit of death, but my core is the power of thunder. Once I condense the Tao fruit of thunder, I'll break through to the sage realm. At that time, Master will be able to kill Huang Tai with the flipping sky seal even without resonating with the saint path. Thunder Spirit King said slowly. There was a trace of excitement in his eyes. Originally, he had a thunder spirit body. He had been stuck at the 9th Revolution half-saint realm for countless years in Divine Cloud Valley, but after becoming the implement spirit of the cyclic sky seal and refining the death Tao fruit, he saw hope for a breakthrough. Although the Thunder Spirit King had become the device spirit of the flipping sky seal, he had not broken through to the saint realm. Hence, he could not fully activate the power of the flipping sky seal, especially the extreme emperor aura. If he could activate the extreme emperor aura, even Huang Tai would be turned into dust in an instant. Very good. Your top priority is to completely control the flipping sky seal. Otherwise, once we leave War Mountain, I'm afraid the power we can use will be extremely limited. Ling Xiao said slowly. He had seen through the battle with Huang Tai. Although the Thunder Spirit King had become the device spirit of the flipping sky seal, his cultivation level was still insufficient. Hence, the power he could use was limited. If he had not resonated with the saint path, he would not have been able to injure Huang Tai at all. He might even have died in Huang Tai's hands. The terror of a sage was not something that ordinary people could imagine. Thunder Spirit King, do you recognize these 3 elixirs? Light flashed in Ling Xiao's hand, and 3 golden elixirs appeared. They were the size of a longan fruit and looked like they were cast in gold. There was the sound of metal and stone, but they were extremely heavy. They were like 3 mountains that weighed millions of pounds. These were the 3 elixirs that Ling Xiao had obtained from the 8 trigrams furnace in Divine Cloud Valley. However, he could not recognize the use of these 3 elixirs. These 3 elixirs were extremely heavy. Even a normal half-saint treasure could not break them. These are the divine fine elixirs left behind by the Divine Cloud Saint. Master actually obtained them. This is a great opportunity. Seeing these 3 golden elixirs, even the Thunder Spirit King trembled. His eyes were filled with excitement. Divine fine elixirs? What kind of elixir is this? I have never heard of it before. Ling Xiao was a little confused. He had heard of all kinds of elixirs in the divine world. However, he had never heard of this divine fine elixir. It is normal that Master has never heard of it. This is because these 3 divine fine elixirs have an extraordinary origin. They came from the legendary alchemy realm. They are the remnants of 3 sages' elixirs when they turned into Tao. The Thunder Spirit King said emotionally, "Alchemy realm?" Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had heard of the mortal realm before. Although the divine world was the center of all the worlds, there were still many worlds that were not weaker than the divine world. For example, the divine world's archenemy, the demon world, the underworld, and so on. The alchemy realm was also one of the 3,000 worlds. It was said that it was an elixir that absorbed the essence of heaven and earth. It was said that it was created by the alchemy realm. Some of the elixirs in the alchemy realm were refined by humans. However, the elixirs had a spirit and escaped into the alchemy realm. Some of them were born from heaven and earth. They contained all kinds of mysterious effects. In the alchemy realm, they could even break free from the restrictions of fate and turn into human form. They could cultivate independently. For an elixir to turn into a sage, it was hundreds or thousands of times more difficult than for a human to do so. Ling Xiao did not expect that these 3 golden elixirs were the remnants of the sages in the alchemy realm. What are the effects of these 3 elixirs? Since they have turned into Tao, the essence of these elixirs has been lost. The remaining elixirs are useless, right? Ling Xiao asked curiously. He knew very little about the mortal realm. Of course not. The remnants of these 3 elixirs of the sages are extremely useful to master. Although the essence of the elixirs has been lost, these 3 deity fine elixirs are comparable to the corpses of 3 sages. Even if they are used to refine weapons, they can be refined into a perfect sage treasure. Most importantly, they can forcefully increase the quality of the elixirs and unleash the power of the elixirs to the maximum. Just like the Tao Enlightening Sage elixir that Master obtained. If it is combined with the deity fine elixir, it can be upgraded into the Tao Enlightening Sage King elixir. Its effect is 10 times or even 100 times stronger than the Tao Enlightening Sage elixir. Even if Huang Tai worked himself to death, he would not be able to refine it. The Tao Enlightening Sage King elixir can even help one to become a sage. Do you think these deity fine elixirs are useful? Chapter 1705. It can improve the quality of the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill? This deity fine pill is really heaven-defying. Ling Xiao was also shocked by Thunder Spirit King's words. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was already an extremely precious divine pill, but the deity fine pill could improve it to the level of Saint King Pill, which was really heaven-defying. Yeah, that's the saint of the alchemy realm, which contains the fortune of heaven and earth. Since ancient times, the alchemy realm's elixirs have always been the favorite of the experts. If Master has a chance to go to the alchemy realm in the future and devour a large number of elixirs, his cultivation will definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Thunder Spirit King smiled and said, "Alchemy realm? If I have a chance, I will definitely go and see it. However, with this deity fine pill, I will be able to break through to the half-saint realm without any obstacles." Ling Xiao nodded and said with a sharp light in his eyes. He took out a Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was crystal clear, pure white and flawless like the sun. It flowed with mysterious Taoist rhymes and emitted bursts of fragrance. Ling Xiao followed Thunder Spirit King's instructions and brought the deity fine pill and the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill close to each other. Suddenly, he saw an incomparably magical scene. The deity fine pill, which was originally incomparably hard, buzzed when it got close to the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill. It instantly melted and turned into a golden liquid, which seeped into the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill at a speed visible to the naked eye. Boom! The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill violently trembled and emitted incomparably bright light. Mysterious tentacles shot into the surrounding void and began to absorb the power of the void. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill's aura began to skyrocket. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill was enshrouded in dense light and instantly turned into a pure gold color. Moreover, the mysterious Taoist rhymes were ethereal, forming a mysterious halo around the elixir as if it was a mysterious world. Ling Xiao felt that the Tao Comprehending Divine Pill had become different. That vast Tao Comprehending intent was incomparably mysterious. Rumble. The Tao Comprehending Divine Pill emitted dazzling light and dyed the entire battle hall in pure gold. It overflowed outside of the battle hall, causing a mysterious and vast Taoist rhyme to float above the battle mountain. This is such a powerful Taoist rhyme. Outside the battle hall, Lu Wenjing opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with shock. Tian Gang, Shen Wang, and the others also walked out of the cave. They felt comfortable all over, and their Yuan spirits were clear. It was as if they had become one with the Tao of heaven and earth. This feeling was incomparably intoxicating. Boom! The Celestial Dipper, Shen Wang, Iron Bull, Black Donkey, Fengya, and the others were all enveloped by the vast Taoist rhyme. Their entire bodies actually emitted an aura of a breakthrough. This is the aura of the Tao Comprehension Holy Pill? But how can the Tao Comprehension Sage Pill have such a powerful Tao aura that can affect the entire War Mountain? Lu Wenjing had no idea what was going on in the battle hall. The Taoist rhyme that permeated the air had actually caused Tian Gang and the others to enter a state of Tao comprehension, entering the deepest state of cultivation. Little junior brother, you've gone too far this time. Could it be that you intend to let them undergo the Nirvana tribulation at the same time? Lu Wenjing said with a wry smile, his face full of shock. Rumble. The sky-flipping seal shone brightly. In an instant, the entire War Mountain's Grand Array was activated. A vast array barrier enveloped the entire War Mountain, concealing the aura of the Celestial Dipper and the others. The commotion on War Mountain had also alerted the disciples and elders of the other factions. What's going on? Why is the Grand Array of War Mountain activated? Could it be that a powerful enemy has invaded? Someone exclaimed. No powerful enemy has invaded. I'm afraid it's the work of Marshal Granduncle Long again. He's really restless. His promotion ceremony is in 3 days. At that time, he will have to meet the Supreme Elders. What's going on now that the Grand Array has been activated? Could it be that he's cultivating some kind of secret technique? Everyone was discussing spiritedly, trying to guess what had happened on War Mountain. In the Thunder Hall, Zhan Tianxing woke up. His face was extremely pale and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Tianxing, victory and defeat are common. Don't take it to heart. As the saying goes, the tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. Long Outyin is so arrogant and despotic. He must have a way to die. Lei Qinjue looked at Zhan Tianxing and comforted him. I can't accept this. The sky-flipping seal is mine. The battle hall master is also mine. What did Long Outyin do to deserve it? He and I are irreconcilable. Zhan Tianxing growled. His eyes were bloodshot. You can't accept this? So what if you can't accept this? Are you a match for him? At this moment, an indifferent voice rang out in the void. A ray of light flashed in the Thunder Hall. Instantly, a middle-aged man in a purple robe appeared. A mysterious Taoist rhyme flowed around his body. His aura was as vast as the sea. It was unfathomable. Zhan Tianxing shuddered. He quickly bowed and said, Greetings, master. Please help me. Long Outyin has gone too far. Zhan Tianxing's eyes were red. He looked like a bullied child who had just met his parents. He felt wronged. This was because he knew that the middle-aged man in purple robe was his biggest backer. He was the person who could hold up the sky for him and sweep through everything. The Thunder Hall Master, Lei Xuanji. Big brother, you have finally come out of seclusion. Could it be that you have taken that step? Lei Qinjue quickly bowed as well. His eyes were filled with surprise. That step is not that easy to take. Just a little bit more. But you have really disappointed me. I didn't expect to hear such a thing as soon as I came out of seclusion. I can't believe that you have indulged a puny ant to this extent. Lei Xuanji said coldly. Lightning flashed in his eyes. It was as if he could see the horrifying scene of the birth and death of the world. Lei Qinjue smiled bitterly and said, Big brother, I didn't expect that little bastard to grow so quickly. I didn't think that he would be a match for Tianqing. I didn't expect him to be able to obtain the sky-flipping seal's inheritance. This is too unexpected. This is strange. Tianqing, tell me everything that happened in the sky-flipping seal world. Especially how Long Outyin obtained the sky-flipping seal. Lei Xuanji said slowly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Zhan Tianqing immediately told him everything that had happened. Something is wrong. You have already controlled the core of the array and refined 90% of it. Even if he managed to get the remaining 10%, how could he turn the tables? Unless the Scarlet Dragon of War left a backup plan. But why would the Scarlet Dragon of War choose him? Chapter 1706. Big brother, I don't care what's wrong with Long Outyin. He has to die. But now that he has the sky-flipping seal, even Huang Tai was defeated by him. It's going to be difficult for us to deal with him. Lei Qinjue said with a wry smile. It's going to be difficult to deal with him now. But we don't need to do anything. Huang Tai is a vengeful old man. He won't let Long Outyin go. Lei Xuanji said coldly. Huang Tai. Lei Qinjue's eyes lit up. Big brother is right. Huang Tai is a saint, but he was defeated by Long Outyin. Huang Tai will definitely find trouble with him. Let's keep an eye on Long Outyin's whereabouts. If he dares to leave the sect, I'll find a way to inform Huang Tai. I'll leave it to you. Tianqing, don't let Long Outyin affect your spirit. You've been stuck at the 6th revolution half-saint for a long time. Once you reach the 7th revolution, you'll be the 4th holy son of the War God Temple. Now that the world is changing, I'm afraid this era is coming to an end. The Heavenly Choice Conference is going to happen again. Lei Xuanji said slowly. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes. The Heavenly Choice Conference? Big brother, is it the Heavenly Choice Conference that is said to be at the end of the era? The Heavenly Choice child will have the potential to become a great emperor? Lei Qinjue's eyes lit up as he said excitedly. The Heavenly Choice Conference was a grand event that involved the myriad worlds. Countless geniuses and prodigies would compete for the opportunity to become a great emperor. For example, the 9 great emperors of the human race had obtained the opportunity to become a great emperor in the last Heavenly Choice Conference. That was how they were able to become great emperors and lead the human race to glory. The Heavenly Choice Conference would sweep across the 3,000 great worlds. When the time came, countless prodigies would gather and it would usher in a new era. The prodigies of the 12 immortal sacred grounds in the divine world might be strong, but they were nothing compared to the Heavenly Choice Conference. In the Heavenly Choice Conference, there would be countless prodigies and prodigies that were sealed in the ancient times. Even the princes and princesses would appear. It would be a grand era. It's a pity that only those below the sage realm can participate in the heavenly selection meeting. I won't be able to participate. Qinjue, Tianhang, both of you have a chance. Cultivate hard. When the time comes to compete with the geniuses of all the realms, that is your opportunity. Compared to the Heavenly Chosen Convention, a mere Long Outyin is nothing but an ant, not worth mentioning. Lei Xuanji said slowly. Master, rest assured. In the Heaven's Choice Assembly, I'll definitely seize the title of Heaven's Chosen Son. Zhan Tianqing's face was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with hope, and his fighting spirit was ignited again. 9 Imperial Obelisk. Ancestor, the War God Temple is going too far. And that Long Outyin, he deserves to die. Are we just going to let it go? Huang Yu gritted his teeth as he spoke with a gloomy expression on his face. His experience in the War God Hall was a great humiliation to him, especially when Huang Tai had been injured by Long Outyin. He felt a little mad when he thought about how they had left the War God Hall. Are we just going to let it go? How is that possible? Long Outyin must die. Hand over the flipping sky seal of the War God Temple. Huang Tai said indifferently with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. Ancestor, Long Outyin controls the flipping sky seal and has the combat strength of a sage. Even if he leaves the war god temple, it won't be easy to kill him, right? Huang Yu asked. Not necessarily. Although Long Outyin controls the flipping sky seal, he can't fully unleash its power. He can only rely on the Saint Path resonance. As long as he leaves the war god temple, even with the flipping sky seal, he won't be a match for a sage. Huang Tai's eyes flashed with a cold light. Huang Yu was shocked. He quickly asked, Ancestor, are you going to do it yourself? I can't do it. After all, we're still allies on the surface. Inform Luo Sha to be on standby. As long as Long Outyin leaves the war god temple, ask her to kill him and bring the flipping sky seal back. Huang Tai said indifferently. Huang Yu bowed respectfully, then turned and left. The war god temple was filled with dazzling light and Taoist rhymes. It was peaceful and mysterious. After fusing with the deity pill, the enlightenment sage pill exploded with boundless energy. It floated in front of Ling Zhao's forehead and the vast Taoist rhymes merged with his body. Ling Zhao instantly felt himself flying out of the war god temple, out of the war mountain, and into the depths of the endless void. It was as though he had become one with the heavenly Tao of the divine world. He was surrounded by the vast great Tao law that was within reach. Ling Zhao's cultivation had reached the great circle of the divine king realm. He was only one step away from crossing the nirvana tribulation and breaking through to the sage-to-be realm. However, this step was difficult for many people. In order to break through to the sage-to-be realm, one had to comprehend the true meaning of the great Tao. This was also the beginning of comprehending the true meaning of the great Tao. Only by gradually comprehending the true meaning of the great Tao and condensing one's own sage path could one become a sage. Ling Zhao was now standing at such a crucial moment. He had to comprehend his own true meaning of the great Tao. To others, comprehending a type of great Tao true intent might be extremely difficult. One would need to go through a very long period of cultivation, sudden enlightenment, and observing the heaven and earth to be able to achieve it. However, to Ling Zhao it was very easy. The difficulty lay in the choice. Ling Zhao cultivated the sky-devouring mystic technique, so he could comprehend the sky-devouring true meaning. He had the lightning emperor technique and the divine firmament lightning Tao, so he could comprehend the true meaning of lightning. He cultivated the great void heart charm sutra, so he could comprehend the true meaning of heart charm. He cultivated the true meaning of time, so he could comprehend the true meaning of fate, so he could comprehend the true meaning of calamity annihilation. Ling Zhao had bravely advanced all the way to where he was today. He had obtained many fortuitous opportunities that many people might not be able to obtain in their lifetime. The martial arts and secret techniques he cultivated were all earth-shattering ultimate techniques that pointed directly to the true meaning of the great Tao. If Ling Zhao wanted to break through, any true meaning of the great Tao would be able to help him break through. However, Ling Zhao was unwilling to break through just like that. He wanted to walk the path of invincibility that no one had ever seen before. He wanted to achieve the peerless divine path, so he had to create his own true will of the great path. This was also the foundation of his future divine path. Therefore, at this moment, Ling Zhao was not in a hurry to break through. Instead, he sat there cross-legged and sank into a state of indifference. His entire body was shrouded in dazzling light. He had sunk into the deepest state of Tao comprehension. The sky-devouring mystic technique, the lightning emperor technique, the divine firmament lightning Tao, the great void heart charm sutra, the true meaning of time, the true meaning of life, the true meaning of life, the true meaning of the great Tao flowed slowly in Ling Zhao's heart. They turned into mysterious runes that revolved around him. Ling Zhao's aura became increasingly ethereal and unfathomable. Chapter 1707. Rumble. The light around Ling Zhao became even more dazzling and chaotic mist filled the air. His lips curled into a smile without any emotion. His skin flowed with a mysterious luster and Taoist rhymes circled around him. Streaks of purple gas rose from Ling Zhao's body, causing his body to emit an immortal fluctuation. The divine power law in his body was as vast as the sea. It contained the mysterious phenomenon of the birth and death of lightning, the creation of time, and the flow of life and death. His primordial spirit was clear and flawless, like an ancient heavenly emperor sitting cross-legged in the void, suppressing the myriad of worlds. His heart realm was between reality and illusion. His heart force flowed, allowing him to see through the long river of fate and the scene of countless years in the future. Essence, qi, spirit, heart. These were the four types of energy in Ling Xiao's body, but they merged into one in the chaos at the same time, perfect and flawless. The key to breaking through to the sage-to-be realm is the true meaning of the great path. My primordial spirit has the true meaning of time and fate. My divine power law has the true meaning of devouring. My heart has the true meaning of heart talisman. My body has the true meaning of chaos. Ling Xiao seemed to be sitting alone in the endless chaos, comprehending the vast true meaning of the great path. He gradually understood. The body is the foundation, the origin of the primordial spirit, the foundation of the divine power law, and the origin of the heart. If I break through to the sage-to-be realm, the true meaning of chaos is the best choice. Chaos is all-encompassing and all-encompassing. Only by accommodating the heavens can I open my own path. The voice in Ling Xiao's heart became louder and louder. It was like a great bell, vibrating the surrounding void and shattering the chaotic mist. When Ling Xiao was in the Void Saint world, he had already understood the secret of the physical sanctification realm. It was refining the body in the chaos. Any living being had to go through this step before their body could become immortal and indestructible. Just like the third level of the indestructible saint technique, rebirth from a drop of blood. To a certain extent, it could be considered immortal and indestructible. As long as a drop of blood and flesh existed, it would never die. Therefore, Ling Xiao decided to use the great path of chaos as the foundation of his body, which was also the foundation of his Tao. Rumble. As Ling Xiao gradually understood, the vast chaotic qi in the surroundings surged into his body. It contained a tremendous presence, causing his aura to become heavier, ancient, and mysterious. Ling Xiao was like a black hole, constantly devouring chaotic energy. However, not a single strand of energy leaked out. The purple indestructible disaster seed on his chest was like a sun, dazzling and dazzling. Strands of tribulation qi revolved around him, giving him a mysterious ripple that made him indestructible and invulnerable. Leakless real body. This was the second level of the myriad tribulations indestructible saint technique, the leakless true body. Ling Xiao had devoured an immeasurable amount of tribulation qi in the cyclic sky seal world, and perfected his indestructible calamity seed. He had already shown the embryonic form of the leakless real body during his battle with Huang Wudao. Now that his Tao heart was perfected, he had finally broken through to the leakless real body realm. The leakless real body formed a small universe of its own. Ling Xiao's physical body had its own great path precepts. His entire body seemed to be condensed from the power of precepts. It was perfect and flawless, without any impurities. It locked in the vital energy, and precepts in his body, preventing any leakage. After condensing the leakless real body, Ling Xiao's physical body had greatly improved. More importantly, he could replenish his energy at any time and place. He would never run out of energy. Rumble. Before Ling Xiao could carefully comprehend the mysteries of the leakless real body, a mysterious power erupted from his body. The vast great path precepts descended and a destructive force rose from Ling Xiao's body. His physical body emitted a crisp sound as it began to shatter at a speed visible to the naked eye. The nirvana tribulation had descended. Ling Xiao's physical body was incomparably strong and he had even condensed the leakless real body. Therefore, his nirvana tribulation was hundreds of times more dangerous than others. The surrounding void trembled and chaos filled the air. The chaotic great path precepts passed through Ling Xiao's physical body. Dense tribulation qi, numbering in the thousands, exploded within Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao could feel his physical body disintegrating and his primordial spirit weakening. His divine power and precepts were flowing away. Even his heart force began to disperse. It was as if he was about to return to the void and enter an irreversible state. However, Ling Xiao didn't panic at all. He still guarded his mind and calmly accepted all of this without any sadness or joy. The Nirvana tribulation was a tribulation of life and death. It was also a tribulation of rebirth. No one knew what was happening in the battle hall. However, the majestic Taoist rhyme emitted from the Enlightenment sage King Pil had also benefited Tiangang and the others greatly. All of them began to break through. Kacha, Tiangang, Xian Wang, Black Donkey, Iron Bull and the others' cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the Divine King realm. Like water overflowing from a brimming Taoist rhyme, they finally understood their own Saint Tao and began to break through. Even the purple lightning lion was undergoing another nirvana tribulation and began to break through. Little junior brother, you've gone overboard this time. More than 10 people are undergoing the nirvana tribulation at the same time. This is really a magnificent feat. Lu Wenjing couldn't help but laugh bitterly when he saw the state of Tiangang and the others. Lu Wenjing wasn't worried about the cultivation of Tiangang and the others. Although they hadn't been in the Divine King realm for long, the flipping sky seal had changed the world when it appeared. The vast power of precepts had allowed them to lay a solid foundation. Now that they had comprehended the true meaning of the great path from the Enlightenment sage King Pil's Taoist rhyme, they had begun to undergo the Nirvana tribulation. At that time, Lu Wenjing was most afraid of more than 10 people undergoing the Nirvana tribulation at the same time. If the Nirvana tribulation formed a chain reaction, the power would increase by several times or even dozens of times. Tiangang and the others wouldn't be able to withstand the Nirvana tribulation and would be in danger of dying. A group of troublesome brats. Looks like this old man has to help again. Lu Wenjing shook his head. A light flashed in his hand and a heaven-shrouding ancient talisman appeared. This heaven-shrouding ancient talisman was given to him by Ling Xiao. Lu Wenjing's calamity indestructible sacred technique had also reached the leakless real body. He also had the indestructible calamity seed in his body that could devour and refine the calamity chi. Ling Xiao's original intention was to let Lu Wenjing hold the heaven-shrouding ancient talisman and protect Tiangang and the others while they were breaking through. This would reduce the danger and allow them to break through to the sage-to-be realm safely. However, Ling Xiao and Lu Wenjing didn't expect such a change that would cause Tiangang and the others to break through at the same time. Rumble. Tiangang and the others sat cross-legged in front of the battle hall. Mysterious Taoist rhymes circulated around their bodies. A calamity chi burst out from their bodies and began to annihilate their bodies and vitality. Chapter 1708. Lu Wenjing's gaze turned solemn. The heaven-shrouding ancient talisman emitted a sparkling light that enveloped his entire body. His aura became faintly discernible, ethereal, and mysterious. Lu Wenjing didn't dare to be careless for a moment. He carefully observed the situation of Tiangang and the others, ready to take action at any time. Boom, boom, boom. The power of nirvanic rebirth flowed around Heavenly Dipper and the others. Streams of tribulation chi wreaked havoc within their bodies. Their fleshly bodies began to crumble, transforming into a resplendent rain of light. It was as though they were returning to the void as their life force slowly dissipated. The Nirvana tribulation was a process of life and death. Especially the first Nirvana tribulation, it was extremely dangerous. The slightest carelessness could lead to the complete destruction of one's soul. Many Divine King realm experts had died when they were breaking through to the sage-to-be realm. Therefore, Lu Wenjing had been watching Tiangang and the others. He didn't dare to relax in the slightest. Suddenly, a divine light flashed in Lu Wenjing's eyes. He saw the tribulation chi flowing in Tiangang and the others' bodies begin to intertwine with each other. Surging nirvana force erupted. The force suddenly increased and began to oppress Tiangang and the others. They were like candles in the wind, trying their best to hold on. However, the nirvana force was becoming more and more terrifying. Not good. Lu Wenjing's expression changed. The thing he was most worried about had finally happened. The nirvana tribulation of Tiangang and the others had formed a chain reaction. Resplendent light bloomed and the vast tribulation chi formed a nirvana storm, enveloping the dozen of them. They were like candles in the wind, about to be extinguished at any time. Lu Wenjing's body flashed and he instantly appeared beside Tiangang and the others. His palm shone brightly as purple runes rose into the air. A purple calamity seed exuding a perfect and flawless ripple appeared in his palm. The vast tribulation chi hummed and trembled. It was instantly attracted by Lu Wenjing's indestructible tribulation seed and rushed towards it. Lu Wenjing began to refine the tribulation chi with the indestructible tribulation seed. He wanted to reduce the difficulty of Tiangang and the others' tribulation. Rumble. Lu Wenjing was shrouded by the sky-shrouding ancient talisman. His presence was ethereal and mysterious, but his indestructible calamity seed became the target of the endless calamity chi. Lu Wenjing didn't have the sky-devouring secret technique, so he couldn't refine the calamity chi as freely as Ling Xiao. He could only refine it one by one. However, the chain reaction of more than 10 people crossing the nirvana tribulation at the same time was too terrifying. Tribulation chi rose up like a terrifying storm. Even if Lu Wenjing was powerful, without the powerful devouring power of the heaven-devouring secret technique, his efficiency in resolving the tribulation chi was very limited. Little junior brother, you've really gone overboard this time. Lu Wenjing smiled bitterly as he channeled his tribulation seed with all his might, devouring the tribulation chi that filled the skies to help Heavenly Dipper and the others overcome their tribulations. However, the nirvana tribulations were getting more and more terrifying. Lightning flashed across the sky as the figures of Tiangang and the rest transformed into a rain of light, intertwining with each other in the sky as they underwent a metamorphosis in the nirvana tribulation. The nirvana tribulation was incomparably terrifying. It constantly wiped away the vitality of Tiangang and the others, making it impossible for them to form a new physical body to overcome the nirvana tribulation. Even with Lu Wenjing's devouring power, the nirvana tribulation was still extremely terrifying. Rumble. Suddenly, the door of the battle hall opened. Rays of chaotic light rose up, as if a chaotic vortex was spreading out, emitting energy fluctuations that could devour everything. The tribulation chi that enveloped Tiangang and the others were like fish dragons entering the sea. They began to surge into the battle hall and were devoured by the chaotic vortex. Senior brother, leave it to me. Ling Zhao's voice was indifferent and ethereal. It rang out from the battle hall, causing the void to tremble slightly. All right, little junior brother, you can't do this again. If you do it again, I won't be able to withstand your scares. Lu Wenjing heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Since Ling Xiao had taken action, Tiangang and the others were already out of danger. The chain reaction formed by the nirvana tribulation was quickly restored under the devouring power of the heaven-devouring secret technique. The vitality of Tiangang and the others also began to erupt. Mysterious rays of light lingered around them as they formed a new physical body. Rumble. Numerous incomparably powerful auras soared up into the clouds, exuding boundless energy waves. Tiangang and the others seemed to have walked out from the primordial chaos. Their silhouettes appeared once more, but the auras they exuded were several times stronger than before. Every one of them was emitting a faint sage aura, which made them even more extraordinary. There was a mysterious fluctuation that was untainted by karma and invulnerable to all techniques. First Revolution Half-Saint. They had all broken through to the First Revolution Half-Saint realm. Kacha. Tiangong's vital energy and blood surged to the sky. Mysterious rays of light lingered around his body. It was as if runes were emerging from his body, forming a huge seal that sealed the majestic vital energy and blood in his body. One could faintly see that there was an incomparably terrifying chaotic figure in Tiangong's body. It was stepping on the chaotic void, and its head was above the firmament. It was immortal and indestructible. Lu Wenjing couldn't help but be secretly shocked by the terrifying aura fluctuations. What kind of bloodline does Tiangang have? Lu Wenjing's heart trembled. He could feel that after Tiangang broke through to the half-saint realm, the seal in his body showed signs of breaking. Rumble! A bolt of lightning exploded as an ancient and terrifying roar of rage rang out from within Heavenly Dipper's body. The qi and blood in his body instantly erupted forth, akin to the roar of a tsunami. That terrifying aura caused the others to be pushed away. Tiangong's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his body glowed. His body seemed to contain an incomparably terrifying power. Starting from the space between his eyebrows to his heart and dantian, a powerful seal suddenly broke apart. A mysterious aura appeared, adding a mysterious aura to Tiangang. He was like a heavenly emperor, invincible in the heavens and earth. Tiangong's sealed Panga bloodline had finally broken out. Fortunately, the entire War Mountain was sealed by the flipping sky seal. Tiangong's bloodline aura had not leaked out. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Swoosh! Boundless chaotic energy gushed out from the war hall. Ling Xiao strolled out from the war hall. His robe was whiter than snow, and his body was surrounded by a faint saint aura. The chaotic energy emitted from his body gave him an illusory aura fluctuation. At this moment, Ling Xiao gave off a very strange feeling. He stood there, but there was a mysterious fluctuation that made people feel as if there was nothing in front of them. It seems like everyone has broken through. Very good. However, senior brother, the seal in your body has been broken. You should know the consequences of breaking the seal. Take this heaven-shrouding ancient talisman with you. Don't let your aura leak out. Chapter 1709. The sky-shrouding talisman could conceal Tiangang's aura. Otherwise, once his Panga bloodline erupted, it would be extremely troublesome if the experts of the Heavenly Curse sect and the Chinese discovered it. Thank you, Hall Master. Tiangang's eyes shone with gratitude. Although breaking through to the half-step saint realm was a joyous occasion, he also knew the consequences if his Panga bloodline was leaked. Ling Xiao was also thinking that it was time to bring Tiangang to see Panga Feng and the others in the cyclic sky seal world. Perhaps they would have some way to help Panga Feng continue hiding his Panga bloodline. With a flash, the cyclic sky seal returned to Ling Xiao's hand. The barrier that enveloped the entire mountain vanished as well. Outside the mountain, there were many figures with powerful auras. They were all elders and true disciples of the War God Hall. Their eyes were filled with curiosity. They had no idea what had happened on the mountain. Senior Uncle Long has actually broken through to the half-step saint realm? No wonder the mountain has been sealed for 3 days. It's because Senior Uncle Long has broken through. A disciple could not help but exclaim when he saw Ling Xiao's cultivation. No. Look at the other disciples of the War God Hall. They've all broken through to the half-step saint realm? Heavens, isn't that too unbelievable? Someone exclaimed, as though he had seen a ghost. His gaze landed on Tiangang and the others, his eyes filled with disbelief. 3 days ago, most of the disciples of Battle Hall were still in the Divine King realm. Battle Mountain had been sealed off for 3 days, but all of them had broken through to the half-step saint realm. Moreover, it was a collective advancement. This was too shocking. The faces of the disciples and elders outside War Mountain were filled with horror. However, their shock did not last for long. 3 days had passed, and Ling Xiao's promotion ceremony was about to begin. The promotion ceremony this time caused an uproar in the entire War God Hall. It was a grand occasion. Countless disciples and elders came out of seclusion. They wanted to see the new master of the War God Hall. Ling Xiao did not feel much about the promotion ceremony. However, it was a grand occasion for the entire sect. It was also a symbol of the rise of the War God Hall. As a result, Ling Xiao was extremely cooperative with the promotion ceremony this time. The promotion ceremony was held in a sea of clouds between the 9 sacred mountains. The several 100,000 disciples and elders of the War God Temple had all come to participate. The white-clothed War God and the other 8 palace masters also appeared. The etiquette of the promotion ceremony was very complicated. One needed to worship the heavens and earth, worship the ancestors of the War God Temple, burn incense, wait quietly, and bless the crown, and so on. Ling Xiao completed these steps extremely calmly and steadily. Moreover, he accepted the worship of countless disciples and elders of the War God Hall. I didn't expect this martial granduncle Long to be so young. I heard that he's not even 100 years old, right? Becoming the Battle Hall Master at such a young age is truly enviable. However, Battle Hall has been in decline for so many years. It won't be easy for them to regain their glory from 1,000,000 years ago. This young martial granduncle's talent is extraordinary. His promotion to the Battle Hall Master has overshadowed the three saints. Everyone discussed animatedly, their eyes filled with different expressions. Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably calm, as if he didn't hear the discussions of others at all. This kind of limelight might make others go wild with joy, but Ling Xiao was able to treat it calmly. In Ling Xiao's view, apart from his own strength, everything else was just an illusion. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he noticed a purple-robed middle-aged man among the 8 palace masters. He looked tall, handsome, and dignified, but Ling Xiao felt a faint trace of hostility from him. The Thunder Hall Master, Lei Xuanji? It's fine if you don't provoke me. But if you dare to provoke me, I won't be polite either. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Lei Xuanji was a saint, but he was hostile towards him. It was probably because of Zhan Tianxing. Ling Xiao also heard that Zhan Tianxing was Lei Xuanji's disciple. The promotion ceremony is complete. Everyone, pay your respects to the Battle Hall Master. As the voice of an elder resounded in the sky above the War God Temple, Ling Xiao had already walked up to the sky and stood beside the white-clothed War God, standing side by side with the other 8 palace masters. Above the void, clouds and mist lingered, and the momentum was vast. The white-clothed War God and the 8 palace masters were all saints. Only Ling Xiao, who had just broken through to the Sage-to-Be realm, stood out. Greetings to the Battle Hall Master. Throughout the War God Temple, all the disciples and elders below the Saint Realm bowed to Ling Xiao. Their voices shook the sky, and their momentum was majestic. Although most of them were sincerely happy, after all, Ling Xiao's demeanor of injuring Huang Tai on War Mountain 3 days ago made them admire him greatly. However, there were still a few people whose faces were ugly. Lei Qianjue, Xing Jun, and the others felt extremely sullen, and their faces were ugly. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao's status was higher than theirs, which was hard for them to accept. Ling Xiao stood in the sky, looking down at the people of the War God Temple, and his expression was calm. He said slowly, "Everyone please rise." Everyone raised their heads, and their eyes fell on Ling Xiao. I was young and unvirtuous, and I was blessed by the War God Qi Long. I have the Flipping Sky seal, and I am valued by the War God. I have been promoted to the position of Battle Hall Master, and I am terrified. I know that I have a heavy responsibility, and I can only work hard to cultivate and become a saint as soon as possible. I want to restore the glory of the War God Temple and do my part for the War God Temple. The War God Temple was founded on war, and we fought against the heavens and the earth. We fought against all enemies, and we were ranked as one of the 12 immortal sacred grounds of the God realm. I hope that everyone in my War God Temple will not be afraid of strong enemies. I hope that everyone in my War God Temple will be unyielding, and unyielding. We, the disciples of the War God Temple, never shrink from a fight. Ling Xiao's voice was extremely calm, and it resounded in the sky above the War God Temple. However, there was a sense of excitement in his voice, and all the disciples of the War God Temple were excited, and their blood was boiling. That's right, we, the disciples of the War God Temple, never shrink from a fight. What martial Uncle Long said is right, and he has done it. Even if his strength is not as good as mine for now, just based on his actions, I admire him. Many disciples said as they looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of fanaticism. That's right. The War God Temple had been suppressed for too long. Ever since the great calamity 1,000,000 years ago, the War God Temple had been suppressed by people with ulterior motives, and it had begun to weaken. Even the disciples of the War God Temple had become cautious in these years, and they would even swallow their anger. However, every disciple of the War God Temple was unwilling to accept this. Ling Zhao's words had ignited the blood that had been suppressed for a long time, and every one of them was so excited that they could not control themselves. At this moment, all the disciples of the 9 factions, regardless of whether they had conflicts or not, thought of Ling Zhao's words. Chapter 1710. This boy is so good at stirring up people's hearts? The eyes of the other 8 hall masters all revealed strange looks, as though they were getting to know Ling Zhao all over again. But they also saw that Ling Zhao's words had an immeasurable effect on the unity of the people of War God Temple. Something seemed to be budding in the hearts of all the disciples of War God Temple. Of course, the main reason for this wasn't because of Ling Zhao's words. It was because of the glorious battle 3 days ago. That battle had ignited the morale and passion of the disciples of the War God Hall, and it had even cleared the name of the War God Hall. So now, a sentence of, "We are the disciples of War God Temple, why would we shrink from a battle?" was enough to make everyone's blood boil. White-clothed War God's eyes flashed with a trace of splendor. He glanced at Ling Zhao indifferently. His eyes were incomparably deep, and no one knew what he was thinking. This boy must not be allowed to live. Lei Xuanji's face was indifferent, but the killing intent in his heart was more and more intense. For some reason, although Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at first revolution half-saint, Lei Xuanji felt an inexplicable threat. After the promotion ceremony, Ling Zhao and white-clothed War God came to Heaven Battling World. The Celestial Battle World was the core secret ground of the War God Temple. Only the Saint Forefathers and the 9 Hall Masters of the War God Temple were qualified to enter the Celestial Battle World to cultivate. This place contained boundless saint force, enough to satisfy the cultivation needs of saints. "War God, why did you bring me here?" Ling Zhao asked curiously. It was also his first time entering Heaven Battling World. Ling Zhao could feel that there was a vast amount of saint power in Heaven Battling World, and there were dozens of incomparably powerful auras. Each of them was like a blazing sun in the sky, exuding fluctuations that made people's hearts tremble. These were all saints. The saint ancestors of War God Temple were also the foundation of War God Temple. "Long Outyin, are you an ascender from the mortal world?" White-clothed War God suddenly turned around and looked at Ling Zhao indifferently. Although the white-clothed War God was shrouded in a bright light, his face could not be seen, but his eyes were incomparably bright, as if he could see through Ling Zhao's heart. Ling Zhao's body trembled, but on the surface, he was incomparably calm as he said, "Lord War God, you must be joking. Rumor has it that the door to the God realm has been closed for 1,000,000 years and has yet to open. How could I be an ascender?" Ling Zhao was thinking quickly. He had the secret skill of shrouding the sky. It was reasonable to say that the white-clothed War God should not be able to see his details, let alone his identity as an ascender. What went wrong? The white-clothed War God said lightly, "You should know Hong Tianzhao, right? He was the son of Hong Ji, the Hall Master of the Fire Temple. Hong Tianzhao had a divine ability that was blessed by the saint, which allowed him to send back news of his death. Not only Hong Tianzhao, but the 6 true gods of the lower realm also had all kinds of backup plans. According to the news from Hong Tianzhao, the person who killed him was called Ling Zhao, and he had obtained the wordless heavenly book. And you have the aura of the wordless heavenly book. If I'm not wrong, your real name should be Ling Zhao, right? Hong Tianzhao? So they had a backup plan left by the saint? No wonder even I didn't find it. The War God is right, I am Ling Zhao. Does the War God also want to take away the wordless heavenly book?" Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he said slowly. At this moment he was on guard. The light of the flipping sky seal was dense, as if it would launch a thunderous attack at the white-clothed War God at any time. Ling Zhao knew that the white-clothed War God in front of him was unfathomable. Perhaps his strength was stronger than Huang Tai. Ling Zhao had no confidence in facing him, but Ling Zhao was sure to escape. As long as he used the flipping sky seal to block the white-clothed War God for a moment, he could mobilize the power of the Heart Realm and then move into the Taishu Temple. "Ling Zhao? Good name. You don't have to be so nervous. You are the disciple of the Scarlet Dragon War God, that is my junior martial uncle, and I have no interest in the wordless heavenly book. It is yours, I won't take it, the white-clothed war god said calmly. War god, what is your relationship with the master? Ling Xiao could feel that the white-clothed war god was real and not pretentious. He relaxed a little but still did not relax his vigilance. Instead he asked, I am just an admirer of the Scarlet Dragon war god. Junior martial uncle, if I didn't guess wrong, you should have relied on the 9 primal chaos tablets to come to the god realm? Can you tell me what happened in the mortal world? About the Scarlet Dragon war god. The white-clothed war god sighed, but Ling Xiao was keenly aware that when he mentioned the Scarlet Dragon war god, the white-clothed war god's eyes had a complicated look. I also accidentally got the wordless heavenly book and the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon war god. It's a long story, Ling Xiao nodded. Since his identity had been exposed, then he had nothing to hide. Moreover, he could detect with the secret of fate that the white-clothed war god did not have any malice to him, and even had an inexplicable sense of intimacy. Ling Xiao told the white-clothed war god about what happened in the lower realm. Except for some key points, Ling Xiao did not say anything else. Everything else was told to the white-clothed war god. I didn't expect that so many things had happened in the lower realm for millions of years. The white-clothed war god listened to Ling Xiao quietly. After Ling Xiao finished, she also sighed. War god, the great calamity of the war god temple a million years ago was also because of the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao asked. He was very curious about what happened a million years ago. Maybe he could find the whereabouts of the Scarlet Dragon war god. Ling Xiao always felt that maybe the Scarlet Dragon war god was not dead. It's because of the wordless heavenly book. But that great calamity involved the great calamity between the god realm and the devil realm, and my war god temple was just a catalyst. The white-clothed war god said slowly. With his narration, combined with the memory of the Scarlet Dragon war god, Ling Xiao gradually understood what had happened. It turned out that a million years ago, the news that the Scarlet Dragon war god had obtained the wordless heavenly book spread out. Many experts in the entire god realm were alarmed. In particular, the legend said that the previous owner of the wordless heavenly book was the Devil Emperor of the Devil Realm. The wordless heavenly book was an ominous thing. Many saints wanted the Scarlet Dragon war god to hand over the wordless heavenly book. Naturally, the Scarlet Dragon war god could not hand it over. At that time, the relationship between the god realm and the devil realm was tense. A large-scale war of gods and devils was set off. The previous generation of war god, the master of the Scarlet Dragon war god, died in battle. The Scarlet Dragon war god took over the position of war god. The saints of other immortal holy land descended on the war god temple and wanted the Scarlet Dragon war god to hand over the wordless heavenly book. The Scarlet Dragon of War wielded the flipping sky seal and the wordless heavenly book. He launched an earth-shattering battle with many sages who had come to coerce him. As a half-saint, he went against the heavens and killed many sages. The devil race also had experts descend on the war god temple. The war god temple had a river of blood. Many experts of the war god temple also died. Finally, the Scarlet Dragon war god left the war god temple in order not to implicate the war god temple and fled to the lower world. Ling Xiao had seen some of the great calamity in the memory of the Scarlet Dragon war god before, but those were very vague and incomplete. Now he got a complete answer from the white-clothed war god. With the cultivation of semi-sage, he went against the heavens and killed the saints. Master is really a peerless talent. Chapter 1711. Ling Xiao, since you have inherited the wordless heavenly book, you must follow the will of the Scarlet Dragon war god and carry forward the battle hall. But the wordless heavenly book is not only a great opportunity, but also a great danger. Once the wordless heavenly book is exposed, I am afraid you will be the enemy of the whole world. Even the war god temple and I can't protect you. You must improve your strength as soon as possible, at least have the cultivation of the sage realm, so that you can have a certain degree of self-protection. The white-clothed war god looked at Ling Xiao and said seriously, Lord War God, rest assured, I will naturally work hard to strengthen the battle hall and fulfill the master's wish. It's just that I don't understand one thing. I have the wordless heavenly book, and I used the heaven-shrouding secret technique to hide my aura. I am confident that I can hide from the sage. How did Lord War God find me? Ling Xiao nodded and asked the doubts in his heart. The heaven-shrouding secret technique is really powerful. Even I can hardly detect your aura. But I can feel the aura of the wordless heavenly book. Because I have also refined the wordless heavenly book, but you can rest assured that as long as you don't deliberately expose it, others can't detect the aura of the wordless heavenly book. The white-clothed war god said calmly. Refined the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao couldn't help but be moved. It seems that the relationship between the white-clothed war god and the scarlet dragon war god is not shallow. It seems that they should have known each other a million years ago. But what puzzles Ling Xiao is that the white-clothed war god should call the scarlet dragon war god granduncle. What is their relationship? However, Ling Xiao can't ask this kind of question, he can only guess secretly. The white-clothed war god changed his tone. Ling Xiao, there is a good opportunity. Maybe it can help you become a sage in a million years. If you can seize this opportunity, even if the wordless heavenly book is exposed in the future, you should have enough power to protect yourself. What opportunity? Ling Xiao asked. The chosen one is about to begin. The white-clothed war god said slowly, his eyes showing a hint of sharpness. The chosen one? Is it the chosen one that is known as the most important event in the world, the emperor's chosen one? Ling Xiao's whole body shook, and his eyes showed a hint of shock. The chosen one that the white-clothed war god spoke of was naturally different from the chosen one that Ling Xiao participated in the war god realm. The Scarlet Dragon War God had borrowed the name of the God World's Heavenly Selection Convention to establish the God World's Heavenly Selection Convention. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a Heavenly Selection Convention. As for the true Heavenly Selection Convention, it was the #1 convention in the heavens. At the end of each epoch, the origin of the divine world would open, forming a mysterious region that attracted countless geniuses from all over the universe to participate. There were endless opportunities there, and at the same time, it was also the place where countless geniuses from all over the universe would battle. Countless peerless heavens prides and monstrous geniuses would compete for all kinds of opportunities in the Heaven's Choice Convention, and compete for the fortune of becoming a sovereign. But the Heavenly Chosen Council was about to appear, which also meant that this era was about to end. This era was an opportunity for the human race. The human race had gone through hardships to reach glory. The reputation of the 9 Thearchs shone brightly. However, when the era ended and the great calamity descended, the human race would be the first to bear the brunt. They might even be in danger of dying. For countless epochs, there were countless brilliant civilizations and powerful races that disappeared in the great calamity. Thinking of the great calamity, the excitement of the Heavenly Selection Convention dissipated a lot. Ling Xiao's heart became incomparably worried. The current God world was very awkward. The human race hadn't had a sovereign for tens of millions of years. If it weren't for the barrier of the God world, the demon world would have invaded long ago. Once the era ended and the great calamity descended, the human race would lose the barrier of the God world. It would be a devastating blow to the human race. I'm afraid you've also thought of it. The arrival of the Heavenly Selection Convention also means that this era is about to end. The great calamity in the future is destined to be incomparably tragic. Divine Tao experts are just ants. Only by confirming the Tao and becoming a saint can they have the power to protect themselves. Especially after the 100-year period, when the great gate of the God world opens again, your identity is destined to be exposed. So in this Heavenly Selection Convention, you must seize the opportunity and strive to confirm the Tao and become a saint as soon as possible. The War God in White said seriously. Many thanks for the information, War God. This Heavenly Selection Convention is indeed my best opportunity. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and nodded. Speaking of the Heavenly Selection Convention, Ling Xiao was even looking forward to it. To be able to fight with the countless Heaven's Chosen experts from all over the world, and even the peerless experts who had been sealed since ancient times would gather in the Heavenly Selection Convention and become a furnace of heaven and earth to compete for the opportunity to become a sovereign. Ling Xiao was also looking forward to it. The Heavenly Selection Convention should start within these few years. You should prepare well. I heard from Ni Shang that you're going to the great Zhou Divine Nation's Wuzang Mountain. Although you now have the cyclic sky seal, you still have to be careful. Especially Huang Tai, he will definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance. You made him suffer such a great humiliation, he will definitely not be satisfied. The war god in white warned. Rest assured, war god, I will be careful. Ling Xiao nodded and left the war god temple. Without the support of Zhan Mountain's Saint Dao resonance, even if he had the cyclic sky seal, it would be difficult for him to be Huang Tai's opponent. However, the Thunder Spirit King's breakthrough was imminent. Once the Thunder Spirit King broke through, Ling Zhao's cultivation would definitely increase greatly. At that time, if Huang Tai dared to make a move, it would be hard to say who would win and who would lose. Ling Xiao, when you return from the Wuzang Mountain, I will convene a meeting of the Supreme Elders and fight for the qualification to comprehend the Heaven Battling's secret skill for you. The war god in white suddenly said to Ling Xiao. Heaven Battling's secret skill. When Ling Xiao heard this news, he couldn't help but tremble and a trace of anticipation appeared in his eyes. Was the Heaven Battling's secret skill, one of the 12 sky arts, finally going to be in his hands? Even the 14th ranked heaven-devouring secret skill was so terrifying. One could imagine how powerful the 12 sky arts were. The heaven-battling secret skill was the core secret of the War God Temple. Only the War God and the successor of the War God were qualified to comprehend it. Even the Supreme Elders were not qualified to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill without the permission of the Supreme Elders. War God, I'm afraid the Supreme Elders won't allow me to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill, right? After all, the heaven-battling secret skill is too important. Ling Xiao asked. After all, he was only a one-turn half-saint. Even the 3 holy sons and the other 8 temple masters could rarely comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill. It would be extremely difficult for him to comprehend the heaven-battling secret skill. Don't worry, I will arrange it. It is said that there is a secret skill in the Wuzang Mountain. If you can get it, it will be a great opportunity. However, it doesn't matter if you can't get it. Your safety is the priority. The war god in white said slowly. Chapter 1712. After Ling Xiao left the Battle Heaven world and returned to the battle hall, he told Ji Feishuan about the opening of the Martial Hidden Mountain. The Martial Hidden Mountain is opening again? Ji Feishuan's eyes flickered with excitement. Junior Sister Ji, since you're the princess of the Great Zhou Divine Nation, why don't you return to the Great Zhou Divine Nation directly? Is there something in the Great Zhou Divine Nation that you're afraid of? Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. He didn't know why Ji Feishuan didn't want to return to the Great Zhou Divine Nation, but since she didn't say anything, he didn't ask. Ling Xiao, there's a supreme secret technique in the Martial Hidden Mountain called the Secret Technique of Life. After obtaining the Secret Technique of Life, if you can comprehend the origin of life, you'll be able to understand life and death and control the Great Tao of Life. It's extremely mysterious. My Great Zhou Divine Kingdom was established with the Life Mystic Technique. However, other than the Life Mystic Technique, the Great Zhou Divine Kingdom's inherited treasure, the Cyclic Sword, can only be passed down to the next king when MT Musashi opens. Only the person who obtains the Secret Technique of Life can obtain the Zhou Tian Sword and become the ruler of the Great Zhou Divine Nation. Ji Feishuan smiled and didn't answer Ling Zhao's question directly. Instead, she talked about the Secret Technique of Life and the Zhou Tian Sword. The Secret Technique of Life? You've been waiting for the opening of the Martial Hidden Mountain. Could it be that you want to obtain the Secret Technique of Life and control the Zhou Tian Sword? Ling Xiao asked. That's right. 10,000 years ago, my father died in battle and the throne of the Great Zhou Divine Nation should have been passed down to me. However, my uncle, Ji Chufeng, used a scheme to prevent me from entering the martial hidden mountain while he grasped the secret technique of life and obtained the Zhou Tian sword. From then on, he became the ruler of the great Zhou divine nation. It's been 1,000,000 years. Ji Feishuan said calmly, but there was a trace of coldness in her eyes. 1,000,000 years. What's his current cultivation? Ling Xiao asked. He's still a 9th revolution half-saint. His aptitude isn't good and he has no chance of becoming a saint. Although I don't care about the throne of the great Zhou divine nation, it was left behind by my father, I must take it back. Ling Xiao, I want you to lend me a hand and take back the throne of the great Zhou divine kingdom. Ji Feishuan looked at Ling Xiao and said seriously. Ling Xiao smiled slightly and said, Relax. You are a disciple of my battle hall, so of course I will help you. However, the great Zhou divine kingdom belongs to the 9-layer imperial obelisk's domain. If I rashly interfere, I'm afraid the 9-layer imperial obelisk will send experts to take action, right? Ling Xiao. The great Zhou divine kingdom's hidden martial mountain was actually a mystic realm. Every time the hidden martial mountain opened, the direct descendants of the royal family would have the chance to participate. Moreover, each person could invite outside help. You can enter the hidden martial mountain with me. As long as we can obtain the secret art of life in the competition, even the imperial obelisk won't be able to say anything. Ji Feishuan said slowly. Good. Then there's no problem. I've already made an appointment with the 3 holy sons of my war god temple. When the time comes, we'll head to the great Zhou divine nation together. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Ji Feishuan continued to cultivate in seclusion to stabilize her cultivation, while Ling Xiao entered the world of the cyclic sky seal with Tiangang. Hallmaster, the people of my Panga clan are actually in the world of the cyclic sky seal? Tiangang's eyes were filled with excitement. When he heard Ling Xiao's words, his face was filled with disbelief and ecstasy. He thought that he was alone in this world, but he didn't expect that his clan members were actually still in this world. Senior brother, it's true. Not only the Panga clan, but also the Fengshui family and the 2 monarch city. They are all here. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Buzz. Light flashed around the 2 of them and they instantly appeared in Panga village. In Panga village, Pangu Feng, Li Qingyun, and Mu Yuanxing had already received the news from Ling Xiao. At this moment, they were all gathered in Panga village, their eyes filled with anticipation. When Tiangang's figure appeared in Panga village, Pangu Feng, Li Qingyun, and Mu Yuanxing immediately trembled. Their eyes were filled with disbelief as they trembled and welcomed him. Rumble! Tiangang's blood and qi surged to the sky, and chaotic mist filled the air. His entire body exuded an immortal and incomparably powerful aura. Pangu Feng and the others also sensed Tiangang's bloodline. It was the purest Panga bloodline. Tiangang was the person they had been waiting for a long time. He was the son of great Emperor Pangu, Pangu Tiangang. Greetings, young lord. Pangu Feng, Li Qingyun, and Mu Yuanxing all knelt down at the same time. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. These are all my clansmen. My clansmen. So I'm not alone. Get up quickly. Tiangang's eyes were also wet, and there were sparkling tears in his tiger-like eyes. He quickly wiped his eyes and helped Pangu Feng and the others up. The people of the Pangu clan, the Fengshui family, and the 2 monarch city were incomparably happy. After 1,000,000 years, they finally saw their young lord, and also saw the future of the Pangu clan. Ling Xiao looked at all of this quietly and didn't disturb them. After a long time, when everyone's emotions gradually calmed down, Pangu Feng and the others walked towards Ling Xiao and bowed deeply. Little friend Long, our Panga clan, the Fengshui family, and the 2 monarch city will never forget your great kindness. Everyone's voice was filled with deep gratitude. Everyone, please get up quickly. Big senior brother is a disciple of our battle hall. His matters are my matters. You don't have to be so polite. However, the most important thing now is to deal with the Pangu bloodline in big senior brother's body. Do you have any ideas? Ling Xiao hurriedly helped everyone up and said sternly. Pang Gufeng, Li Chiyun, and Mu Yuanxing looked at each other and said seriously, "Little friend Long, don't worry. Now that young lord has returned, there are some things that can be done. We are preparing to open the secret realm of the Panga clan. The core inheritance of our Panga clan is there, and only young lord can inherit it. That secret realm is extremely hidden, and the Chinese and Heavenly Curse sect will never be able to find it." Hearing their words, Ling Xiao understood what was going on. It turned out that the coordinates of the secret realm of the Panga clan were hidden in Tiangang's bloodline. They could open a void passage and teleport to the secret realm of the Panga clan according to the coordinates, so that Tiangang could inherit the inheritance. "Do you need my help?" Ling Xiao asked. After all, the strongest among them, Pang Gufeng and the other two were only comparable to a 9th revolution half-saint. They couldn't open a void passage yet. "Hallmaster, with the combined strength of our 3 clans and my Panga bloodline, we can directly open a void passage here. For the next period of time, we will all enter the secret realm of the Panga clan to cultivate. We will leave the secret realm after we have cultivated successfully." Chapter 1713. Alright. As long as you don't appear in the divine world, the Chinese and the Heavenly Curse sect won't find out. However, senior brother, I heard that the Heavenly Choice Conference is about to begin. It's the #1 event in the universe and the greatest opportunity of this era. I hope you won't miss it. Ling Xiao nodded and said, "Don't worry, Palace Master. I won't miss the Heavenly Choice Conference. We'll meet there," Tiangang said with a carefree smile. However, his gaze towards Ling Xiao was filled with deep gratitude. He remembered everything that Ling Xiao had done for him in his heart. However, he was not a person who was good with words. If there was a chance in the future, he would naturally repay Ling Xiao with his life. Tiangang led the 3 clans into the Void Gate and entered the secret realm of the Panga clan. Ling Xiao could finally put down one of his worries. In the following period of time, he continued to consolidate his cultivation and temper his body in preparation for his trip to the great Zhou divine nation. A month later, Enai Shang, Gao Yang, and Wu Xiong met up with Ling Xiao and Ji Feishuan on the War Mountain. They were prepared to use the War God Seal's projection to head to the great Zhou divine nation through Aries College. "Marshal, Granduncle Long, is junior sister Ji Feishuan really a royal disciple of the great Zhou divine nation?" Gao Yang asked excitedly. "Gao Yang, you should just call me Long Outyen. It's better to keep a low profile when we go to the great Zhou divine nation. Ji Feishuan is indeed a royal disciple of the great Zhou divine nation. She's also the niece of the current king of the great Zhou divine nation, Ji Chufeng," Ling Xiao said with a smile. He didn't hide Ji Feishuan's identity, but he didn't mention that Ji Feishuan had entered the mortal world. Anyway, Ji Feishuan had left the divine world 1,000,000 years ago, and even the people of the great Zhou divine nation didn't know about it. Ling Xiao only said that she accidentally entered a secret realm and was sealed for 1,000,000 years. That's great news. If junior sister Ji Feishuan can participate in the Martial Hidden Mountain, we'll have a chance to enter together. Gao Yang didn't care about Ji Feishuan's past and said excitedly. Although he was going to the Martial Hidden Mountain previously, if he couldn't enter with the identity of a royal disciple, even if he was a saint of the War God Temple, he would have to face strict restrictions. He might not even have the chance to come in contact with the legendary secret technique. "Gao Yang, aren't you celebrating too early?" It's said that when the great Zhou Divine Kingdom's royal family members entered the hidden Martial Mountains, they only had one external aid. "I'm afraid you won't have a chance," Ling Xiao said with a smile. "A foreign aid? Long Outyen, you're the one who doesn't understand. The rules of the great Zhou Divine Kingdom have already changed. Since 1,000,000 years ago, very few people have obtained the complete secret technique and most of them are incomplete, so they can't inherit the Zhou Tian sword. The great Zhou Divine Kingdom has relaxed the rules for followers. It's fine as long as there aren't more than 5 people." Gao Yang looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. 5 followers? What is Ji Chufeng trying to do? A cold glint flashed across Ji Feishuan's eyes. She was indeed unaware of this. Every time, the royal family members who were qualified to enter the hidden martial mountains, there would be at least 1,000 of them. If each of them had 5 followers, then the number of people entering the hidden martial mountains would be terrifying. The great Zhou Divine Kingdom's foundation is getting stronger and stronger, so much so that even the 9 imperial gates attach great importance to it. Every 10,000 years, the hidden martial mountains will open. Even if they can't obtain the complete life secret technique, the incomplete life secret technique will still have a profound effect. The great Zhou Divine Kingdom has relied on this to make friends with many experts. Ji Chufeng is still sitting firmly on the throne. What a good scheme. Wu Xiong said slowly. He's using an incomplete life mystic technique to befriend an expert. However, no one has obtained the complete life mystic technique 1,000,000 years ago. Naturally, there's no way for him to wield the cyclic sword and threaten Ji Chufeng's position. What a good scheme. Anai Shang said faintly. It seems like this uncle of mine is infatuated with the throne. However, no one can obtain the complete life secret technique, so I'm afraid he's the one behind it. Ji Feishuan said coldly. Whether he's the one behind it or not, we'll know when we enter the hidden martial mountains. However, junior sister Ji, if Ji Chufeng knows that you're back, he won't let you enter the hidden martial mountains so easily. Ling Xiao said. It's not up to him whether we can enter the hidden martial mountains or not. Unless he can restrain me before the opening of the Musashi Mountains like he did 1,000,000 years ago, or he can kill me directly. Otherwise, he can't stop me. Ji Feishuan said calmly. Let's go. This time, the hidden martial mountains will definitely be a fierce battle. I'm sure there will be many geniuses from the other immortal sacred grounds. Ling Xiao nodded. The 5 of them left the War God Shrine. Relying on the void projection of the Heaven Battling Seal, they traversed millions of miles and returned to the War God College. Long Outyen and the 3 saints have left the War God Shrine. The hidden martial mountains will open soon. I'm afraid they've gone there. In the Thunder Hall, Lei Xuanji's eyes flickered as he said faintly. They've already left? Great. I will inform Elder Huang Tai right now. This time, we must make sure that Long Outyen dies outside. However, Big Brother, could it be that the cyclic sky seal, this supreme treasure, is going to benefit that old man Huang Tai? Lei Qinjue sneered and then said hesitantly. The flipping sky seal is the treasure of the War God Shrine. We can't let it fall into his hands. However, I don't think Huang Tai will do it himself. I'll keep an eye on Long Outyen. Long Outyen can die, but the flipping sky seal will still return to the War God Shrine. Lei Xuanji said faintly. Everything is under Big Brother's control. Long Outyen is dead for sure. Lei Qinjue sneered. Don't be careless. Tian Xing is about to undergo the 7th Nirvana tribulation. Once he breaks through, he will be the 4th saint of the War God Shrine. If Long Outyen dies, he will be able to wield the flipping sky seal. Even the War God won't be able to do anything about it. Lei Xuanji said slowly. Tian Xing is about to undergo the 7th Nirvana tribulation? That's right. Big Brother, I want to participate in the Chosen One meeting. No matter what, I must obtain the opportunity to become a saint. Lei Qinjue said. You can go. After all, with your talent, it will be difficult for you to become a saint if you don't have a great opportunity. Your opportunity lies in the Chosen One meeting. However, there will be countless elites competing for the top spot. Opportunities are everywhere, but it will also be dangerous. You have to be careful. Lei Xuanji said. Big Brother, don't worry. I will be careful. When the time comes, if Tian Xing can wield the flipping sky seal, we will have more power to protect ourselves. This era is about to end and the Great Tribulation is coming. Everyone below the saints are ants. I don't want to be an ant, so I must become a saint. Chapter 1714. Kacha. There was a dazzling light as the void was torn apart. Ling Xiao and the other 4 stepped out of the void and appeared in Ares College. Not good. Ling Zhao's expression changed abruptly as he saw a layer of black magic light barrier covering the entire Ares College. It contained a dark, evil, cold, and murderous aura. Dragon roars resounded in the sky, causing the space to tremble violently. 81 golden dragons soared into the sky, forming a huge 9-dragon divine formation, which was contending with that layer of polished barrier. Ares College had already suffered heavy casualties. Many of the Ares College's disciples had been killed by the Demon Clan's experts who appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Blood splattered across the sky, and broken limbs were strewn everywhere. It was like a scene straight out of hell. Tong Yuan and Han Li were furious. They held powerful holy treasures in their hands and led many elders to activate the 9-dragon divine formation. They were fighting against the 3 figures in the sky, but at the moment, they were losing ground, as if they were arrows at the end of their flight. The 3 figures were 3 elders in black robes. Each of them was surrounded by a monstrous demonic aura. They were evil and dark, and their eyes were bloodthirsty and cruel. Terrifying aura intertwined around them. They had reached the 9th transformation half-saint realm. Their strength was extremely terrifying. Are they experts from the Heavenly Demon Clan? Damn it. They actually sealed the entire Ares College. No wonder the sect did not receive any news. Hurry up and save them. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he rushed towards the 3 elders in black robes. Ling Zhao could recognize that the 3 black-robed elders were all experts from the Heavenly Fiend Clan. Their strength was unparalleled. Even if Tong Yuan and Han Li had flawless holy treasures and the 9-dragon divine array, they would not be able to withstand it. Long Outyan? Why you back? Hurry up and leave this place. You are no match for them. Hurry up and tell the sect that the Heavenly Demon Clan has invaded. Let the sect take revenge for us. Tong Yuan and Han Li also discovered that Ling Zhao and the other 4 had appeared in the center of the teleportation array. Immediately, their eyes revealed an incomparably anxious expression as they hurriedly urged. They couldn't discern the cultivation level of Ling Zhao and the other 4. After all, even Ling Zhao and Ji Feishuan had reached the 1st transformation half-saint realm. However, in their opinion, the 3 Heavenly Devil Clan experts before them were too terrifying. Many of the Ares College's elders couldn't even withstand a single blow from them. More than half of them were killed or injured. Ling Zhao and the others were definitely not their match. Rest assured, Principal. Leave these 3 demon bastards to me. Ling Zhao said calmly, but his gaze was extremely cold. So many disciples and elders of Ares College had died tragically, and this had completely ignited the murderous intent in his heart. These Heaven Devil race's bastards deserve to die. A student of Ares College? You're merely a first revolution half-saint. I think you're courting death. Offer me your flesh and soul, you overconfident brat. When a black-robed old man saw Ling Zhao, he was slightly surprised. However, his eyes were filled with cruelty as he stretched out his hand and grabbed at Ling Zhao. Long Outyan, leave quickly. You're not their match at all. Tong Yuan and Han Li were about to go crazy. They would rather die than let Ling Zhao die for them. Principal Tong, Elder Han, you don't have to worry. Those 3 demon bastards aren't Long Outyan's match. They're dead meat. Enai Shang said calmly as she landed beside Tong Yuan and Han Li. Her eyes revealed a trace of cold, murderous intent. Even though she had a cold temperament, seeing so many Ares College's disciples die tragically, a trace of murderous intent emerged in her heart. Those 3 Heavenly Devil Clan experts are all high-level half-saints. You don't know this, but Long Outyan is definitely not their match. Saintess Enai Shang. Han Li said anxiously. However, when he saw Enai Shang's appearance clearly, his body suddenly trembled. His eyes revealed a look of surprise and joy. Han Li had seen the Saintess Enai Shang of the War God Temple before. The Saintess Enai Shang was the personal disciple of the War God. She was extremely talented and powerful. It was said that she had once killed a 9th Revolution half-saint expert. She had always been the eldest senior sister in the hearts of the War God Temple disciples. She was a legendary existence. Han Li had never thought that the Saintess Enai Shang would grace Ares College with her presence. However, what did the Saintess Enai Shang mean when she said that the three Heavenly Devil Clan experts were not Long Outyen's match? Han Li had some doubts in his heart. However, the next scene completely stunned him and Tong Yuan. Boom! Ling Xiao didn't waste any time talking nonsense with the three Heavenly Devil Clan experts. They had completely aroused the murderous intent in Ling Xiao's heart. Ling Xiao's entire body was filled with blood qi. A light flashed in his hand, and the flipping sky seal soared in the wind. It contained a vast power that could destroy everything and directly attacked the black-robed old man in front of him. What? The black-robed old man originally had a sneer on his face. He felt that a First Revolution half-saint disciple of the War God Temple actually dared to attack him. He was simply courting death. However, the moment the flipping sky seal appeared, he felt the threat of death. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically. He started to roar wildly. His voice was filled with uncontrollable fear. Boom! However, the power of the flipping sky seal was too terrifying. It was like an immortal mountain that suppressed the ancient times. As a Ninth Revolution half-saint, the black-robed old man didn't even have the slightest bit of resistance. He was directly smashed into smithereens by the flipping sky seal. That black seal, could it be the legendary? Han Li and Tong Yuan widened their eyes and trembled all over. They only felt that their breathing had become incomparably rapid. Han Li seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes couldn't help but widen. That's right. It is the flipping sky seal. Long Outyen now wields the flipping sky seal and is now the master of the War God Temple. Enai Shang confirmed Han Li's guess and said slowly, wields the flipping sky seal. The master of the War God Temple. Han Li and Tong Yuan felt as though they were in a dream. They didn't dare to believe what Enai Shang had said. However, everything in front of them was so real. Other than the flipping sky seal, what else could kill a Ninth Revolution half-saint expert with a single blow? This news reverberated in their minds, causing them to be stunned. Oh no! Run quickly! After the first expert from the Heavenly Demon Clan was killed by Ling Xiao, the remaining two black-robed old men's faces changed drastically. The terrifying fluctuations that the flipping sky seal emitted made their scalps go numb. Their bodies trembled, and they didn't have the slightest bit of resistance in their hearts. They wanted to escape into the distance. Swoosh! The flipping sky seal emitted a monstrous sage aura. In an instant, it soared in the sky and covered the sun. It was as though it had transformed into a mountain that was millions of feet tall. It directly suppressed the two black-robed old men. Poof! Chapter 1715. The three black-robed elders from the Sky Fiend clan, who were experts at the peak of the Ninth Transformation half-saint realm, were all killed by the flipping sky seal. Their primordial spirits were also suppressed by Ling Xiao in the flipping sky seal. He was prepared to interrogate their primordial spirits for information. After all, the experts from the Sky Fiend clan had inexplicably besieged Ares College, which made Ling Xiao smell a conspiracy. The flipping sky seal is indeed terrifying. Enai Shang exclaimed in shock. Tong Yuan and Han Li regained their senses at this moment. They looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. In their eyes, the experts from the Sky Fiend clan were extremely terrifying. Even with the flawless holy treasure in their hands and the activation of the 9-dragon divine array, they could not withstand the attacks of the experts from the Sky Fiend clan. However, all of them had died in the hands of Ling Xiao. In just a short span of 1 to 2 years, Ling Xiao's cultivation had already grown to such a level. It was indeed terrifying. Rumble. On the other hand, Gao Yang, Wu Xiong, and Ji Feishuan didn't stay idle either. Under their joint attacks, most of the Heavenly Devil Clan's experts were low-level half-saints and demon god monarchs, and they were easily annihilated. Ares College looked like an Azura hell. In this battle, countless disciples and elders had died in the hands of the experts from the Sky Fiend clan. It could be said that they had suffered a great loss. Even in the previous battle with Demon Sage Bo Yu, Ares College's losses were not as heavy as this one. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and felt a little tired. With his current cultivation, although it seemed like he had easily killed the 3 experts from the Sky Fiend clan, it had taken a huge toll on him. If not for the fact that the Flipping Sky Seal had the Thunder Spirit King as its weapon spirit, even if he could activate the Flipping Sky Seal to kill the experts from the Sky Fiend clan, he would have been completely drained and would not have the strength to continue fighting. Sush. Ling Xiao used the Sky-Devouring secret skill to devour the primordial spirits of the 3 experts from the Sky Fiend clan. He suppressed them in the wordless heavenly book and began to interrogate the memories in their primordial spirits. Dean Tong, Elder Han, why did the experts from the Sky Fiend clan besiege Ares College? At this moment, Anai Shang also voiced the doubts in her heart. We don't know either. Tong Yuan laughed bitterly and said, the Heavenly Devil Race's experts seem to have appeared out of thin air. First, the 3 black-robed elders used the Devil Race's formation to seal Ares College and prevent us from contacting the sect. Then they started a massacre. It was as though it was premeditated. That's strange. The Heavenly Fiend race had besieged Ares College on such a large scale. What were their intentions? And where did they come from? Dean Tong, did anything happen in the God and Devil space? Gao Yang asked doubtfully. We can't figure it out either. The God-Devil space might have some small-scale conflicts these days, but the ancient Supreme Ancient City is safe and sound. These Heaven-Devil race experts couldn't have come from the God-Devil space. Han Li also said, you don't have to guess anymore. I have already interrogated their primordial spirits. This attack on Ares College was a conspiracy. Ling Xiao's voice suddenly rang out. Everyone shuddered and couldn't help but look at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao walked over with a cold glint in his eyes. These Heavenly Devil Race experts are the remnants of the Devil Race who have been hiding in the divine world for a long time. It's just that the Heavenly Devil Race is good at disguising themselves and looks no different from humans, so it's very difficult for others to discover them. This time, a human expert gave them an order to hunt down the War God Temple's outer sect organizations with all their might. Ling Xiao recounted the information he had interrogated from the primordial spirits of the 3 experts. Human expert? He actually dared to collude with the Devil Race. He deserves to die. But who exactly is that human expert? Wu Xiong and Gao Yang asked coldly. I don't know. That human expert hid very well, but we can be sure that he's at least a sage. Even these Heavenly Devil Race experts don't know his identity. He's probably from the 12 immortal sacred grounds. We have to tell the sect to be careful. I'm afraid that the sect's other gods' stone mines, outer sect organizations, shops, pavilions, and other places will be attacked by the Heavenly Devil Race experts. This person is targeting our War God Temple. I'm afraid he's plotting something big, Ling Xiao said slowly. He also felt a little regretful that he did not find out the mastermind behind the scenes. I'll send a message to Master right now. They should be sending people to Ares College very soon. Dean Tong, Elder Han, you have to be on high alert during this period of time. Once the Heavenly Devil Race experts attack again, immediately send a message to me. Anai Shang said slowly. After Anai Shang sent a message to the sect quickly sent a few powerful half-sages to Ares College. They were on high alert and began to make arrangements. Ling Zhao's group of 5 took the teleportation array and headed to the Great Zhou Kingdom. However, the invasion of the Heavenly Devil Race cast a shadow over everyone's hearts. Heaven Capital was the capital city of the Great Zhou Kingdom. Heaven Capital was located on Heaven Capital Mountain. It was an ancient city that had been standing for hundreds of millions of years. It occupied an area of tens of thousands of miles and was built on top of a lofty mountain. It was vast and majestic. In Heaven Capital, there were palaces, pavilions, and jade carvings. Green and elegant peaks could be seen everywhere. It was enshrouded in resplendent light, as though it was the palace of the gods. It was ancient and mysterious. The Great Zhou Kingdom had a long history. It was even rumored that there was a great emperor among the ancestors of the Great Zhou Kingdom. However, that great emperor was short-lived. The great Zhou kingdom did not receive much of the great emperor's inheritance. Hence, they did not have the foundation of an emperor clan and could only be reduced to an ordinary kingdom. However, over the years, as the king of the great Zhou kingdom, Ji Chufeng, worked hard to govern the kingdom and made friends with many experts from the sacred lands, the great Zhou kingdom's strength grew stronger. Although they still relied on the 9-layered imperial obelisk to exist, the 9-layered imperial obelisk paid more attention to them. As for the great Zhou kingdom's martial hidden mountain, it was rumored that it contained a secret technique of life. It had the profoundness of life and death. Hence, every time the martial hidden mountain opened, it would attract many experts to participate. Buzz. When Ling Zhao's group of 5 came out of the teleportation array in Heaven Capital, they could instantly feel the liveliness and prosperity of Heaven Capital. There were also many powerful auras flashing by. Heaven Capital, I'm back again. Ji Feishuan looked at the Heaven Capital in front of her and sighed softly. There was a trace of sadness and vicissitudes in her eyes. Heaven Capital was still there, but it was no longer the Heaven Capital that Ji Feishuan was familiar with. Our War God Temple has a pavilion in the great Zhou Kingdom. Before the martial hidden mountain opens, let's stay there temporarily. Anai Shang said slowly. Ling Xiao and the others naturally had no objections and followed Anai Shang to the pavilion of the War God Temple. War God Elixir Talisman Pavilion. This was one of the businesses of the War God Temple in the great Zhou Kingdom. The main business was elixir and talisman business. Although the business wasn't very good, the most important thing was to collect information and provide a stronghold for the War God Temple. Chapter 1716. The War God Elixir Seal Pavilion was located on Zhou Tian Street, the busiest street in Tian capital. It was a 5-story pavilion. The pavilion master of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion was a deacon of the Sky Hall, Qin Xian, who was a 6th Revolution half-saint. Although the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion wasn't very big on Zhou Tian Street, it was backed by the War God Temple, one of the 12 immortal sacred grounds. Therefore, no one dared to cause trouble here. Boom! Ling Xiao and the others had just reached the entrance of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion when they heard a loud bang. The 2 doors flew open and shattered into pieces. A figure flew out and landed on the street outside, spitting out blood. His eyes were filled with fear. How dare the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion deceive young Master Yunyang? You must be tired of living. If you don't give me an explanation today, I will tear down the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. A cold and arrogant voice rang out. 3 figures walked out of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. One of them was a young man in a green dragon robe. He had a jade crown on his head and a pair of python boots on his feet. He had a slender and vigorous body and a handsome face. He had a cold smile on his face and a powerful aura. He was a 1st Revolution half-saint. Beside him was a young man in a white robe. His body emitted a blazing aura, and his eyes flickered like flames. He looked extremely arrogant and was also a 1st Revolution half-saint. Behind the 2 of them was a stooped old man. He was very small and inconspicuous, but Ling Xiao could tell that this old man was very powerful. He had already reached the 7th Revolution half-saint realm. Ling Xiao and the others' faces couldn't help but darken. The War God Elixir Seal Pavilion was a property of the War God Temple. It seemed like these people didn't have good intentions for causing trouble here. The War God Elixir Seal Pavilion has never sold fake medicine. You are slandering us. The person who had fallen on the street was a young man with delicate features. He was only a sky celestial realm cultivator. He struggled to stand up with an aggrieved look on his face, but he still tried to defend himself. I think you won't cry until you see the coffin. Chen Xian doesn't dare to come out. Today, I will cripple you first. The young man in the green dragon robe had a cold look in his eyes. He immediately sent a palm strike towards the young man. The aura around him was terrifying. Holy aura. One look and one could tell that he had just broken through and he couldn't control his strength. He couldn't control his strength. Gao Yang's temper was the most explosive. A cold glint flashed through his eyes as he threw out a slap. With a crisp sound, the young man's expression changed drastically. He felt as if he had slammed into a mountain. His arm was shattered by Gao Yang's slap, and he was sent flying. The skinny old man caught him. And this was because Gao Yang had shown mercy. Otherwise, with Gao Yang's cultivation, he could have killed him with a single slap. "How dare you hurt me? Gods, eh?" The young man in the green dragon robe was furious. He stared at Gao Yang fiercely. His eyes were full of shock and anger. The Gao Yang in front of him looked to be about the same age as him, but he had broken his arm so easily. This made him secretly wonder if Gao Yang was a disciple of some sacred ground. But these thoughts disappeared in a flash. He had been arrogant in Tiandu City for so many years. He had never suffered such a loss. The anger in his heart suppressed his doubts. "Little brother, are you okay? What happened at the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion?" Ling Xiao helped the young man up. Then, a majestic energy flowed into his body. The young man's injuries began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Thank you, big brother. This is Prince 19 of the Great Zhou Divine Nation. A few days ago, he and young Master Yunyang came to our War God Elixir Seal Pavilion to buy a few tribulation-breaking pills. But now, he is looking for trouble. He said that our tribulation-breaking pills are fake and caused one of young Master Yunyang's subordinates to go crazy." The young man said in a somewhat angry and aggrieved manner. At this moment, a black-robed middle-aged man came out of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion with the help of several people. The black-robed middle-aged man looked like a second revolution half-sage. However, his aura was incomparably weak. It seemed as if he had gone crazy. He had fallen from the third revolution half-sage realm. The young man's name was Bai He. He was the steward of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. The young man in the green dragon robe was called Ji Chen. He was the Prince 19 of the Great Zhou Divine Nation. He was one of the most beloved princes of Ji Chufeng. His innate talent was extraordinary. He had already reached the first revolution half-sage realm. Tribulation-breaking pill? Isn't that a pill used to help a half-sage expert cross the nirvana tribulation? How can it cause him to go crazy? A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. He knew about the tribulation-breaking pill. It was one of the special pills of the War God Temple. It was very popular. It was a pill refined with the indestructible saint technique as the foundation. It could dissolve the tribulation chi of the nirvana tribulation and transform it into boundless vitality to help a half-sage expert cross the nirvana tribulation. It had always been in short supply. It was impossible to cause him to go crazy. Ling Xiao knew that Prince 19 and the others were deliberately targeting the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. "Get lost. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll kill you." Gao Yang's gaze turned cold. His eyes were blazing with passion. They were as sharp as the great Sun Divine Sword. Ji Chen couldn't help but tremble. He felt even more embarrassed and angry. "Bai He, where is Pavilion Lord Qin Xian?" And Ai Shang also asked. Her gaze was slightly cold. The War God Elixir Seal Pavilion had been attacked, but Qin Xian still hadn't shown up. "Pavilion Lord Qin Xian and a few protectors have left the city. I'm Pavilion Lord Qin Xian's disciple. I'm temporarily in charge of the affairs of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. I didn't expect to encounter such a situation." Bai He said. He wasn't old and had the reputation of the War God Temple. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to cause trouble here. Originally, even if his cultivation wasn't high, it wouldn't be a problem for him to temporarily take charge of the affairs for a few days. However, he encountered Ji Chen and the others. "Miss, why are you interfering in the affairs of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion? I'm Yun Yang, a disciple of the Elixir Seal Mountain. May I know your name?" The white-clothed youth's eyes lit up when he saw an Ai Shang. He couldn't help but walk up with a smile. A disciple of the Elixir Seal Mountain? Hearing Yun Yang's words, the surrounding people couldn't help but have a slight change in expression. The Elixir Seal Mountain was a special sect. It was formed by a group of alchemists and talisman masters. There was no lack of alchemy saints and talisman saints. The elixirs and divine talismans refined by them were very popular. They were inextricably linked to many sects and sacred grounds. Chapter 1717. Disciples of the Pill Talisman Mountain? What is the Pill Talisman Mountain? How dare you come to the war god Pill Talisman Pavilion and behave atrociously? Don't you know that this is the property of the war god temple? Anai Shang's eyes were cold as she stared at Yun Yang. There wasn't a trace of emotion in her voice. You are disciples of the war god temple? Yun Yang's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. The surrounding crowd's expression couldn't help but change slightly. There was a good show to watch now. The war god Pill Talisman Pavilion was smashed by Prince 19, but in the blink of an eye, disciples of the war god temple came. This was too much of a coincidence. Although the great Zhou divine nation was weaker than the war god temple, the 9 imperial obelisk behind the great Zhou divine nation wasn't weak at all. Coupled with the unfathomable Pill Talisman Mountain, it was hard to say who would win if the two clashed. Kneel down and apologize. Fix the door of the war god Pill Talisman Pavilion, and I will spare your lives. Anai Shang said calmly with a dignified voice that couldn't be defied. The 5 of them were suppressing anger in their hearts. Previously, Ares College was almost destroyed by the experts of the Sky Devil race. Now, the war god Pill Talisman Pavilion was being attacked. When had the war god temple ever suffered this kind of humiliation? Especially since Anai Shang, Gao Yang, and Wu Xiong were the 3 great saintesses and saints of the war god temple. Their every action represented the dignity of the war god temple. Naturally, they couldn't let this matter go so easily. Ji Chen and Yun Yang's eyes turned cold, and they couldn't maintain their composure. This extremely beautiful lady's words were too domineering. She actually wanted them to kneel down and apologize? So what if you are disciples of the war god temple? This is the divine capital, the great Zhou divine nation, not your war god temple. Do you think it's reasonable for you to sell fake medicine? Young Master Yun Yang's subordinates suffered from qi deviation because they ate your tribulation-breaking pills. If you don't give an explanation today, the Zhou Tian guards of the great Zhou divine nation aren't to be trifled with. Ji Chen laughed in extreme anger, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Although he could not see the aura of Ling Xiao and the other 4, he guessed that they were only in the half-saint realm. Half-saints were considered the strongest in the divine capital, but the great Zhou divine kingdom was not afraid of them. Miss, be careful. Your tribulation-breaking pill is quite famous in the god realm, but I didn't think that it would cause someone to go crazy. How dare you sell such a pill? If you don't give me an explanation today, do you really think my Pill Talisman Mountain is a pushover? Yun Yang said with a proud smile. The surrounding crowd had suspicious looks on their faces. The middle-aged man in black was indeed young Master Yun Yang's subordinate. If there was really a problem with the tribulation-breaking pill of the Battle God Elixir Seal Pavilion, then there would be big trouble. After all, the tribulation-breaking pill was quite famous in Tiandu City. Many sage-to-be experts had bought it before. Everyone's gaze landed on Ling Xiao, Anai Shang, and the rest, waiting to see how they would explain. You're framing me. So many people were fine after taking the tribulation-breaking pill, so why did your subordinate go mad? I think this is extortion. There's no problem with our tribulation-breaking pills. Bai He was so angry that his face turned red as he spoke furiously. Anai Shang frowned slightly. She also felt that it was a little troublesome. She could teach Ji Chen and Yun Yang a lesson, but the tribulation-breaking pill was a strategic resource of the War God Temple. It was precisely because the tribulation-breaking pill brought in a lot of profits for the War God Temple every year that the tribulation-breaking pill was one of the 2 best-selling treasures in the Battle God Elixir Seal Pavilion. Anai Shang, let me do it. Ling Xiao said softly and walked out. Anai Shang had no other way to deal with this situation, so she nodded. You're saying that this person went mad after taking the tribulation-breaking pill? Ling Xiao glanced at the middle-aged man in black and said indifferently, That's right. He still has the pill aura of the tribulation-breaking pill on him. If it wasn't for the problem with the tribulation-breaking pill, he would have broken through to the fourth revolution half-saint and wouldn't have gone mad, causing his cultivation to drop by 1 realm. Yunyang sneered. Is that so? A gleam of light appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. He directly made his way to the black-robed man's side and sensed carefully. The tremendous power of his soul silently invaded the black-robed man's body. He circulated through his body and discovered the pill qi of the tribulation-breaking pill. However, Ling Xiao also found a very faint light in the middle-aged man's meridians. An ordinary person might not be able to detect it at all. It seemed to be exactly the same as the saint energy in the middle-aged man's body. However, Ling Xiao felt a trace of a different aura. It's actually the spirit-seizing herb? No wonder it could cause him to go mad. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. He had finally discovered the truth behind the middle-aged man's qi deviation. The spirit-seizing herb was a precious panacea. It could seize the spirituality of heaven and earth. It could rebirth a person's mortal body and remove the impurities in the body. It could even perfect the Taoist foundation. There was no problem with it. However, if the spirit-seizing herb's power was integrated with the tribulation-breaking pill, the efficacy of the tribulation-breaking pill would change drastically. It would turn from a supreme treasure into a poisonous pill. Not only would it not be able to resolve the tribulation aura of the nirvana tribulation, but it would also damage the Taoist foundation, create a mysterious illusion, and cause qi deviation. Eventually, his cultivation would drop and even his life would be in danger. The most important thing was that the spirit-seizing herb's power was invisible and intangible. If it was integrated into the tribulation-breaking pill, perhaps only a true saint could distinguish it. Ling Xiao was very sensitive to this kind of heterogeneous real qi because he had cultivated the sky-devouring secret skill and the sky-shrouding secret skill. That was why he could detect it. A 9th revolution half-saint wouldn't be able to detect it at all. No wonder Ji Chen and Yun Yang dared to come to the War God Elixir Pavilion to find trouble. They wanted to completely destroy the reputation of the tribulation-breaking pill. Boy, don't waste time. There's a problem with your tribulation-breaking pill. I think the War God Elixir Pavilion should be closed down. Ji Chen sneered impatiently. If you say there's a problem, then there's a problem? Who knows if you did something to it? Gao Yang suppressed the anger in his heart. He couldn't wait to slap Ji Chen and Yun Yang to death right now. However, he could only suppress his anger at this moment because it involved the reputation of the tribulation-breaking pill. There's no need to argue. How about this? We'll find a person on the spot and let him consume the tribulation-breaking pill directly. Whether or not he will suffer qi deviation, everyone will know at a glance. Ling Xiao looked at Ji Chen and Yun Yang calmly. Find a person on the spot to consume the tribulation-breaking pill? That's a good idea, but you have to use the tribulation-breaking pill that we bought. Who knows if the War God Elixir Pavilion's tribulation-breaking pill has been tampered with? These few tribulation-breaking pills were all purchased from your War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. These few pills are the ones with the real problem. Ji Chen sneered. Then who knows if you tampered with them after you bought them back? We can use the tribulation-breaking pill that you bought, but I have to check it first. Chapter 17-18. No problem, feel free to check. These few breaking calamity elixir pills were purchased from the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. How about this? You don't have to find anyone else. Just let my subordinate test the pills. Young Master Yunyang smiled faintly, his face full of confidence. The spirit-stealing force in the breaking calamity elixir had been planted by his master. Even a 9th revolution half-saint couldn't detect it. Naturally, he didn't think that Ling Xiao would be able to detect it. If the breaking calamity elixir seal pavilion was found to have a problem, it would be a fatal blow to the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. Only then would he be able to achieve his unspeakable goal. However, let's make this clear first. If there is no problem with the breaking calamity elixir seal pavilion, we will naturally apologize. However, if there is a problem with the breaking calamity elixir seal pavilion, you will compensate me for my loss. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Young Master Yunyang's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. You want the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion? You sure talk big. I'm afraid this is your true goal, right? Ling Xiao said nonchalantly with a hint of mockery in his eyes. It turned out that their true goal was the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. Ling Xiao guessed that the mastermind behind the plot against the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion wasn't Jichen, but young Master Yunyang. This way, not only would the Breaking Calamity Elixir be discredited, but it would also deal a blow to the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. At the same time, it would also publicize the Elixir Seal Mountain. This was a good plan to kill 4 birds with 1 stone. Could it be that you don't dare? It seems like there is indeed a problem with the Breaking Calamity Elixir Seal Pavilion. Your Highness, Prince 19, let the Zhou Tian guards close the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. Young Master Yunyang sneered as he tried to provoke Ling Xiao. Who says we don't dare? Alright, I promise you that if there is a problem with the Breaking Calamity Elixir Seal Pavilion, the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion will compensate you. Ling Xiao seemed to be angered by young Master Yunyang as he spoke coldly. Senior brother, don't be rash. How can the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion compensate him? This is extortion. They must have tampered with the Breaking Calamity Elixir. The White Crane immediately became anxious and said hurriedly, Are you confident to do it? Enai Shang glanced at Ling Xiao and said telepathically, Trust me. Ling Xiao's voice was filled with confidence. Great. Enai Shang nodded. Although Gao Yang and Wu Xiong had their doubts, they didn't say anything when they saw that Enai Shang had agreed. After all, it was just a Battle God Elixir Seal Pavilion. If they really lost to Yunyang, they could just kill these 2 bastards. But in that case, they would definitely not be able to enter the Musashi Mountain. Even if you agree, how do I know that you have the right to make the decision? Yunyang sneered. I am Enai Shang. I can guarantee that if there really is a problem with the Tribulation Breaking Pill, the War God Pill Seal Pavilion will belong to you. A light flashed in Enai Shang's hand, and the God of War token appeared in front of everyone. Nikang? Could she be the Holy Maiden of the War God Temple, Nikang? As expected, he's peerless and extraordinary. Someone couldn't help but exclaim. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The Enai Shang Saintess was famous throughout the entire God realm. Now that they had finally seen her, everyone had a kind of unreal feeling. Their eyes were filled with incomparable excitement. So it's the Enai Shang Saintess. I've been disrespectful. Since the Enai Shang Saintess has spoken, I naturally believe you. Yun Yang's eyes became brighter. His gaze was filled with undisguised passion as he looked at Enai Shang. Enai Shang's white clothes fluttered in the wind. Her appearance was extremely beautiful, her skin was whiter than snow, and her temperament was extraordinary. Although she concealed part of her aura, it was still extremely breathtaking. When she and Ji Feishuan stood together, they were like a pair of peerless prides, making people feel relaxed and happy. If it's proven that there's a problem with the Tribulation Breaking Pill, the War God Pill Seal Pavilion will naturally compensate you. But if it's proven that there's no problem with the Tribulation Breaking Pill, you have to kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Is that okay? Ling Xiao said plainly as he stared at Ji Chen and Yunyang. How dare you? Ji Chen's gaze turned cold. Ling Xiao actually wanted them to kneel down and kowtow to apologize. This was something that he absolutely couldn't tolerate. Yun Yang's gaze also revealed a trace of coldness. If they really kneeled down and kowtowed to apologize, then he and Ji Chen would be considered finished. Not only would they never be able to raise their heads again, but their Dao heart would definitely be damaged. It might even be possible that they wouldn't be able to advance even an inch in their lifetime. What? Could it be that you think that my War God Elixir Seal Pavilion can't compare to the 2 of you kowtowing to apologize? If you want to slander my War God Elixir Seal Pavilion, then take out something of equal value. Ling Xiao sneered coldly. All right, we agree. But we have to swear on the great oath of the Heart's Demon. No one can violate it. Yun Yang was silent for a while. Although he was very hesitant, he still agreed in the end. This was because he believed in his master and also believed that Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to discover the power of soul seizing. Therefore, if his subordinates consumed the tribulation-breaking pill again, they would definitely suffer from qi deviation. Therefore, there was nothing that he didn't dare to agree to. No problem. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a trace of mockery in his eyes. He was afraid that Yun Yang wouldn't dare to swear on the great oath of the heart's demon. He didn't expect Yun Yang to court death. Daring to covet the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion, daring to find trouble with the War God Temple, and daring to slander the reputation of the tribulation-breaking pill. This wasn't something that Ji Qin and Yun Yang could do. There was probably a mastermind behind this. Ling Xiao wanted to tell them that the War God Temple couldn't be easily humiliated. If they dared to use the War God Temple to establish their prestige, then they would have to pay a price that was 10 or 100 times the price. Buzz. Ling Xiao, Ni Shang, Ji Qin, and Yun Yang all swore on the great oath of the heart's demon. Two mysterious runes flashed in the void and disappeared into the void. Instantly, they felt a force of law descending from the unseen world. That was the power of the great oath of the heart's demon. Anyone who dared to violate it would suffer a backlash. Everyone was a little excited. On the surface, it looked like a bet, but in reality, it was a competition between the War God Temple, the Great Zhou Divine Nation, and the Elixir Seal Mountain. Whether the War God Temple would be chased out of the Divine Capital City or the Great Zhou Divine Nation and the Elixir Seal Mountain would end up defeated would depend on the result of the pill test. There were still 3 tribulation-breaking pills in Yun Yang's hand. The 3 tribulation-breaking pills were enshrouded in a dense purple light. They were dazzling, like 3 gorgeous divine suns. Furthermore, they exuded a mysterious fragrance that would invigorate anyone who smelled it. No one dared to believe that there was a problem with the tribulation-breaking pills. Ling Xiao took the tribulation-breaking pills under the watchful eyes of Ji Qin and Yun Yang. After carefully inspecting it, he found that there was indeed a spirit-stealing power in the tribulation-breaking pills. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He placed the tribulation-breaking pills one by one into a jade bottle. A purple light flashed in his palm and merged with the light of the tribulation-breaking pills. Ji Qin and Yun Yang didn't notice it. These are the tribulation-breaking pills of my War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. Give them to your subordinates, Ling Xiao said calmly. Chapter 1719. Ji Qin and Yun Yang looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts. Their eyes revealed a cold sneer. Both of them had been keeping a close eye on Ling Xiao's hands. After all, the tribulation-breaking pills had been tampered with. If they had been careless and allowed Ling Xiao to swap them out, it would have been a huge joke. Fortunately, Ling Xiao hadn't discovered the problem with the tribulation-breaking pills and hadn't had the chance to swap them out. Luda, swallow these 3 tribulation-breaking pills. Don't worry, even if you suffer from qi deviation, I can still save your life. After this, I will ask Master for a Tao Comprehension Divine pill to help you recover. Young Master Yun Yang said as he threw the 3 tribulation-breaking pills to the black-robed middle-aged man. Although Luda was young Master Yun Yang's subordinate, the scene of him suffering from qi deviation after taking the tribulation-breaking pills was still vivid in his mind. He didn't want to experience that again, but since young Master Yun Yang had spoken, he had to obey. Even if he were to die now, he wouldn't refuse. Young Master, Luda said through gritted teeth. His eyes were full of sorrow. Just 1 tribulation-breaking pill had caused him to suffer from qi deviation and drop a level. If he swallowed these 3 tribulation-breaking pills, he might even fall to the Divine King realm. Luda took the 3 tribulation-breaking pills, sat down cross-legged, and swallowed them all in one gulp. Everyone looked at Luda, wanting to see if the tribulation-breaking pills could really cause one to suffer from qi deviation as young Master Yun Yang had said. 3 tribulation-breaking pills. If there's really a problem, won't he die from eating them? Some people's eyes were filled with bewilderment. It's hard to say. If there's really a problem with the tribulation-breaking pills, Let's attack together and smash this bullshit war god elixir seal pavilion. Someone mustered up the courage to say, I hope there's nothing wrong with the tribulation breaking pills. Otherwise, my father will break my legs. I bought a lot of tribulation breaking pills for him here. Who knows? These shops are all unscrupulous merchants. The war god elixir seal pavilion is backed by the war god temple. Even if the pills are fake, what can you do to them? Young Master Yunyang of Pill Talisman Mountain is speaking up for justice. I heard that the Pill Talisman Treasure Pavilion on Pill Talisman Mountain will be opening soon. When the time comes, let's go there to buy pills. However, most of them agreed with Yunyang's words from the bottom of their hearts. Perhaps there really was a problem with the tribulation-breaking pill. Ling Xiao watched coldly from the sidelines. He was even more furious at the mastermind behind this. Rumble. After Luda swallowed the 3 pills, the tremendous medicinal effects immediately exploded in his body. His presence began to slowly strengthen, and his pores began to emit resplendent light. Not only could the tribulation-breaking pill transform the tribulation chi into vitality, but it also contained a vast amount of saint energy that could help a half-saint to break through. When Ling Xiao was inspecting the breaking calamity pill, he used the sky-shrouding secret technique to conceal his movements. He also injected a strand of devouring chi into the breaking calamity pill, so Ji Chen and Yun Yin didn't notice it. However, when Luda swallowed the 3 breaking calamity pills, the heaven-devouring chi erupted and devoured the spirit-stealing power within the pills. It also dissolved the spirit-stealing power and the various toxins that had been lurking within Luda's body. Luda's cultivation was originally at the 3rd Revolution half-saint realm. However, because of the breaking calamity pill, his cultivation dropped by 1 level. At this moment, the tremendous medicinal effects of the 3 breaking calamity pills erupted, and his presence instantly skyrocketed. Boom! Like an unstoppable volcanic eruption, Luda's presence skyrocketed rapidly. Soon, he regained his 3rd Revolution half-saint realm. What? Everyone was shocked and somewhat dumbfounded. They were all waiting for Luda to enter a state of Qigong deviation, but instead, Luda became vigorous. His presence was incomparably strong, and there was no sign of him weakening. Could it be that there was really no problem with the breaking calamity pill? Everyone looked at Ji Chen and Yun Yang suspiciously. Ji Chen's face was a little embarrassed. He transmitted a message to Yun Yang. Young Master Yun Yang, what's wrong with Luda? How did he regain his 3rd Revolution half-saint realm cultivation? Could it be that the breaking calamity pill was swapped by Long Outyen? Absolutely impossible. Young Master Yunyang's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. He said confidently, I'm afraid this is only the effect of the breaking calamity pill. Long Outyen couldn't have swapped the breaking calamity pill because the breaking calamity pill's power is still there. I can feel it very clearly. Let's wait and see. With the breaking calamity pill's power, Luda will soon enter a state of Qigong deviation. Alright, I keep feeling that Long Outyen is a little strange. Ji Chen nodded and said, Rumble. The aura around Luda's body grew stronger and stronger. The 3 breaking calamity pills contained boundless energy. In addition, Ling Xiao had injected a trace of heaven-devouring energy into the pills. It was as if the 3 pills had been completely activated. Luda quickly recovered his full strength and reached the peak of the 3rd Revolution half-saint realm. Luda was originally at the peak of the 3rd Revolution half-saint realm. He had been stuck at the 4th Revolution half-saint realm for many years. In fact, even he didn't know that the breaking calamity pill would cause him to suffer from chi deviation. The breaking calamity pill's power was a secret that only young Master Yunyang knew. But now, not only had Luda recovered to the peak of the 3rd Revolution half-saint realm, but his bottleneck had also loosened under the effect of the 3 breaking calamity pills. He was about to break through to the 4th Revolution half-saint realm. Oh no! Why is there really no problem with the breaking calamity pill? But if I break through to the 4th Revolution half-saint realm, young Master Yunyang won't let me off. No, I can't break through. I must suffer from chi deviation. Luda's heart suddenly trembled. He seemed to have thought of something. It was as if a basin of cold water had been poured over him. He was young Master Yunyang's subordinate, so he knew how vicious young Master Yunyang's methods were. If he really ruined young Master Yunyang's plans, young Master Yunyang would definitely not let him off. Rumble. However, it was already impossible for Luda to stop even if he wanted to. The majestic medicinal strength of the 3 tribulation-breaking pills contained an unparalleled power, pushing his cultivation to erupt like a volcano. His entire body was emitting a mysterious aura. The nirvana tribulation had been triggered. The vitality in his body began to weaken. His physical body, primordial spirit, and saint energy were all weakening. He was about to enter the state of returning to the void. If he could survive the nirvana tribulation, he would live. If he couldn't, he would die. If Luda forcefully suppressed his cultivation now, it would be no different from courting death. Chapter 1720. What? The Battle Hall Master? Ling Zhao's words stunned Luda. The 9 branches of the War God Hall were famous. Who didn't know of them? However, the heads of the 9 branches were all sages. How could this young man be the Battle Hall Master? However, Luda also knew that he had no other choice. If he rejected, he would probably die in the nirvana tribulation. He might as well take a gamble and find a way to survive. Luda made up his mind and ignored everything else. He focused on refining the power of the tribulation-breaking pills. The aura around him became more mysterious and ethereal. The 4th nirvana tribulation was about to erupt. Luda had been in the 3rd revolution half-saint realm for more than 1,000 years. He had accumulated a lot of experience. It wasn't difficult for him to break through to the 4th revolution half-saint realm. Now, with the power of the 3 tribulation-breaking pills, Luda went all out. He forgot about everything and began his 4th nirvana tribulation. However, the surrounding people didn't know about Luda's situation. They only saw that Luda was in the 2nd revolution half-saint realm. In the blink of an eye, he recovered to the 3rd revolution half-saint realm and reached the peak. He even attracted the 4th nirvana tribulation. 3 tribulation-breaking pills actually allowed Luda to break through 2 realms. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out. Oh my God, 3 tribulation-breaking pills actually allowed this fellow to break through 2 realms. The tribulation-breaking pills of the War God Pill Talisman Pavilion are really amazing. I think there's really no problem with the tribulation-breaking pills. Otherwise, this fellow would have already gone mad. Some people began to get excited, and their eyes revealed an incomparably fervent look. If the tribulation-breaking pill really had such a miraculous effect and there were no problems at all, everyone could imagine that the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion's tribulation-breaking pill would be priceless. They wouldn't be able to buy it even if they wanted to. There's really no problem. I've already said that there's really no problem with the tribulation-breaking pills of the War God Pill Talisman Pavilion. But he cried tears of joy. His eyes were filled with excitement. Chen Xian's departure meant that he was under a lot of pressure. He valued the reputation of the War God Pill Talisman Pavilion more than his life. Now, he could finally heave a sigh of relief. He didn't let the old pavilion master down. Martial Granduncle, well done. Gao Yang, Wu Xiong, and Ni Shang glanced at Ling Xiao. Gao Yang winked and smiled, then transmitted his voice. The 3 of them were not stupid. Naturally, they had guessed that there was definitely something wrong with the tribulation-breaking pill. However, they had not discovered it. Ling Xiao had discovered it and had even conveniently solved the problem. That was why the current situation had occurred. Ji Chen and Yun Yang finally couldn't sit still. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Young Master Yun Yang, didn't you say that you have the power to seize souls? Why didn't the spirit-seizing power take effect and instead allowed Luda to break through? Ji Chen said anxiously. How would I know? The spirit-seizing power was left behind by Master. It was impossible for ordinary people to neutralize it. This Chenda actually dared to spoil my plans? Damn it. Young Master Yunyang's eyes flashed with a trace of cold killing intent as he spoke in a somewhat angry tone. Is this Long Outyen's doing? Ji Chen asked. It's possible. It seems that when he examined the breaking calamity pill just now, he hid it from us. I don't know what method he used to dissolve the spirit-seizing power of the breaking calamity pill. Long Outyen? Who is he? Young Master Yunyang said with some uncertainty. Young Master Yunyang, what should we do? If we lose, do we really have to kneel down and kowtow to them in apology? Most importantly, what about the treasure below the War God Elixir's seal pavilion? Ji Chen's expression was extremely ugly. There was a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. What can we do? How would I know? However, if he wants me to kowtow to him in apology, does he even deserve it? Anyway, our great oath of the heart demon is very general and there is no time limit. We might as well agree and just say that we will fulfill the great oath of the heart demon in a few days. I have a treasure that can temporarily suppress the power of the great oath of the heart demon. These people from the War God Temple deserve to die. Young Master Yunyang's face was a little distorted. There was a trace of pain in his eyes. He finally understood what it meant to go for wool and come home shorn. This was a huge loss. The treasure that could suppress the great oath of the heart demon was extremely precious. However, because of Long Outyen, he could only waste it here. Boom! Lu Da's body glowed with resplendent light as the profound and mysterious Great Tao laws descended. He sat cross-legged in the middle of complete Sky Street as he underwent his fourth nirvana tribulation under the watchful eyes of the crowd. However, the final result was more daunting than dangerous. When Lu Da opened his eyes, a powerful aura erupted from his body. His cultivation had finally reached the fourth revolution half-saint realm. Young Master Yunyang, with your tribulation-breaking pill, your subordinates have now proven that there is no problem with the tribulation-breaking pill of the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion. What else do you have to say? Ling Xiao looked at Ji Chen and Yunyang as he spoke. Ji Chen and Yunyang's expressions were extremely ugly. Their eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger. Buzz. An ancient talisman appeared in young Master Yunyang's palm. In an instant, it turned into two talismans and disappeared into his and Ji Chen's body. The two of them were shrouded in a layer of mysterious aura. There is indeed no problem with the tribulation-breaking pill. We were wrong. Ludo, let's go. Young Master Yunyang glanced coldly at Ling Xiao. However, Lu Da stood motionless beside Ling Xiao as if he hadn't heard young Master Yunyang's words. Lu Da? Why aren't you getting your ass over here? Young Master Yunyang's gaze turned cold as he berated Lu Da. Young Master, Lu Da was greatly indebted to young Master Long and was only able to break through to the fourth revolution half-saint realm. Therefore, Lu Da has already decided to follow young Master Long. Please forgive me. Lu Da looked at young Master Yunyang and gritted his teeth. Since he had already offended young Master Yunyang, it was only natural for him to hold on tightly to Ling Xiao's thigh. What? Lu Da, you are courting death. Young Master Yunyang's expression suddenly changed. A trace of cold murderous intent flashed in his eyes as his anger soared. He had never imagined that his subordinate would betray him after breaking through to the fourth revolution half-saint realm and seek refuge with Ling Xiao. This was simply a slap to his face. The expressions of the surrounding people also became extremely strange. What was going on? Young Master Yunyang's subordinate, Lu Da, had actually betrayed him and sought refuge with Ling Xiao? This was too dramatic. Young Master Yunyang, Ji Chen, I think you have both forgotten the great oath of the heart demon. Do you need me to remind you? Kneel down and kowtow to apologize immediately. As for Lu Da, he is now a member of the Combat God Temple. He has nothing to do with you. Chapter 1721. Of course, we won't forget the great heart demon oath. In a few days, we will come to apologize and fulfill the bet. Let's go. Young Master Yunyang's eyes were extremely gloomy. He looked coldly at Ling Xiao and Lu Da and was about to leave the War God Elixir Talisman Pavilion with Ji Chen. Are you guys trying to go back on your words? Ling Xiao's eyes were cold as he smiled faintly. Boom. Ni Shang, Wu Xiong, Gao Yang and Ji Feishuan emitted a powerful aura and blocked young Master Yunyang and Jichen. Their eyes were filled with coldness. These guys dared to behave atrociously in the War God Elixir Talisman Pavilion. Now that Ling Xiao exposed their scheme, they wanted to escape? How could it be so easy? Everyone was dumbfounded. No one expected young Master Yunyang and Jichen to be so shameless. They forgot what they said in the blink of an eye. They had no intention of fulfilling the bet at all. Looks like young Master Yunyang and His Highness Jichen don't intend to fulfill the bet. Aren't they afraid of the Great Heart Demon Oath? Hee, what's the big deal about the Great Heart Demon Oath? Since they dared to go back on their words, they must have a way to resist the Great Heart Demon Oath. If they really kowtowed and apologized, then they would really lose a lot of face. Whether it's the Elixir Talisman Mountain or the Great Zhou Divine Nation, they can't afford to lose so much face. Too shameless. Looks like the so-called tribulation-breaking pill can cause one to go berserk is just nonsense. Everyone was secretly discussing with ridicule in their eyes. They despised young Master Yunyang and Jichen's character. Get out of the way. Long Outyen, I said that we would come to fulfill our promise in a few days. There is no problem with the tribulation-breaking pill. We were wrong. Do you really think you can keep us here with just the few of you? Jichen sneered, his eyes full of disdain. This was the divine capital, the home ground of the great Zhou Divine Nation. So what if they were disciples of the War God Temple? Jichen didn't care about Ling Xiao and the others at all. He wanted to leave with young Master Yunyang. Go my ass. You two despicable dogs dare to behave atrociously in my War God Elixir Talisman Pavilion? I've tolerated you for a long time. Gao Yang's temper was the most fiery, and he couldn't hold it in any longer. With a loud roar, a violent aura erupted from his body, and he suddenly pounced on Jichen and young Master Yunyang. He hadn't made a move before because he was afraid that it would affect the reputation of the Battle God Alchemy's Seal Pavilion. Now that Ling Xiao had clarified everything and proved that there was no problem with the tribulation-breaking pill, Gao Yang couldn't help but make a move. The skinny old man behind Jichen and young Master Yunyang instantly appeared in front of Gao Yang like a ghost. A black ancient sword appeared in his hand and stabbed toward Gao Yang's forehead like a venomous snake. It was silent and terrifying. Scram! Gao Yang's eyes were burning with rage. He swung his palm and a blazing flame gushed out from his palm. It was like a resplendent sun that contained the power to incinerate everything. It directly slapped towards the skinny old man. As soon as Gao Yang made his move, a terrifying power erupted from his body without any reservation. It was like an erupting volcano. In an instant, a vast aura descended and shrouded the entire area. Seventh Revolution Half-Saint? The skinny old man trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He didn't expect Gao Yang's cultivation to be so terrifying. At this moment, when he attacked with all his strength, he felt his scalp tingle and his body tremble as if he was on the verge of death. Boom! What Gao Yang used was the Burning Sky Saint technique. That resplendent sun was formed from the true meaning of the Great Tao. It directly burned the black ancient sword until it turned red. Then, it ruthlessly slammed into the skinny old man's chest. The old man's cultivation was only at the 6th Revolution Half-Saint realm. How could he resist Gao Yang's furious attack? Suddenly, his chest caved in, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura instantly weakened. Gao Yang didn't even look at the old man. His eyes were burning with rage as he directly pounced on young Master Yunyang and Jichen. I'm the 19th Prince of the Great Zhou Divine Nation. If you dare to touch me, you won't be able to walk out of Divine Capital. Jichen's eyes revealed a trace of fear, and he roared in a threatening manner. Yunyang's face also changed greatly. He said with an ugly expression, "Does the War God Temple really want to be enemies with my Pill Talisman Mountain? We've already backed down. What else do you want? With trash like you?" Gao Yang sneered, and his eyes were full of contempt. Boom! He grabbed Jichen and young Master Yunyang as if they were chickens. Then he began to slap them with both hands like a violent storm. Smack, smack, smack! A crisp sound rang out. Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang's handsome faces swelled up in an instant. The two of them were stunned by Gao Yang's slap. When they came to their senses, they were trembling with anger. Their faces were distorted, and their eyes were filled with shame and indignation. "I'll kill you," Ji Chen shouted angrily. However, before he could finish his sentence, he was slapped back by Gao Yang. He was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. "You want to kill me? Just based on you two pieces of trash? Go and cultivate for another 10,000 years. Gao Yang sneered as he slapped Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang several hundred more times. Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang were almost dumbfounded. Boom! In the end, Gao Yang slapped Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang, causing them to kneel in front of Ling Xiao and An Shang. Their knees were instantly shattered, and their faces were swollen like pig heads. They no longer dared to show any signs of viciousness. All that was left was deep fear. The two of them were completely stunned by Gao Yang's attack. Aren't these disciples of the War God Temple too ruthless? This isn't the War God Temple. This is the Sky Capital. Aren't they afraid that the great Zhou Divine Nation and Pill Talisman Mountain will take revenge? Everyone was shocked and looked at Gao Yang, Ling Xiao, and the others with reverence. Young Master Yunyang and Ji Chen deserve it. Who told them to behave so atrociously in the War God Temple's Pill Talisman Pavilion? However, these disciples of the War God Temple must be here to participate in the Martial Hidden Mountain. It will be difficult for them to enter the Martial Hidden Mountain after beating up Prince 19. Someone said slowly. Ling Xiao stared at Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang, who were kneeling in front of him, and said calmly, "I won't kill you today, but that doesn't mean that I won't kill. If there's a next time, even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he will die. Get lost." After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he didn't even look at the two of them and walked into the War God Temple's Pill Talisman Pavilion with An Shang, Gao Yang, Bai He, and the rest. Ji Chen roared at the sky. His body was trembling, and his eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Chapter 1722. The Battle God Elixir Pavilion became famous this time. Gao Yang taught Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang a lesson, which attracted the attention of the entire Sky Capital. No one knew if it was because the Great Zhou Divine Country and Mount Elixir Talisman were in the wrong, but no one dared to cause trouble for the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion anymore. The news of what had happened in the Universal Sky Street had spread throughout the Heaven Capital. Lude had taken 3 breaking calamity pills, and had directly advanced from the Second Revolution to the Fourth Revolution of the Half-Saint Realm. This had shocked everyone, and everyone was wild with joy. The Breaking Calamity Pill had become the best-selling medicinal pill in the War God Danfu Pavilion. Countless experts had lined up to buy the Breaking Calamity Pills. The Breaking Calamity Pill was already very expensive. This time, the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion made a fortune. It was imaginable that they would be rich in the future. The Breaking Calamity Pill became the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion's signature item. And all of this was thanks to Ji Chen and young Master Yunyang. The Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion's door was repaired and looked more imposing than before. Bai He's face was full of smiles when he saw countless people pouring into the pavilion. On the 5th floor of the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion, this old man greets Long, Martial Uncle, Saintess, and the 2 saints. I didn't expect something like this to happen in the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion just a few days after I left. This old man is deeply ashamed. Chen Xian was an old man with white hair and beard. He looked hale and hearty. Not only was he the pavilion master of the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion, but he was also a powerful god-grade alchemist. The Breaking Calamity Pill was refined by him. Chen Xian bowed to Ling Xiao, An Shang, and the others with a bitter smile on his face. Pavilion Master Chen, you don't need to be so courteous. You have also been lured away by those scoundrels. They want you to leave the Battle God Elixir Talisman Pavilion to achieve their goal. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply as he spoke coldly. Chen Xian had already explained the reason why he left the Battle God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. It turned out that a few days ago, someone had discovered the whereabouts of the Hades King Flower outside Tiandu City. Chen Xian immediately felt as if he had obtained a priceless treasure. He brought several protectors of the Battle God Alchemy Seal Pavilion to search for the Hades King Flower. He didn't expect that after he left, such a thing would happen in the Battle God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. Friend, Marshal Uncle Long, our War God Elixir Seal Pavilion is just a slightly more prosperous place. Why would Ji Chen and Yun Yang want to take over the War God Elixir Seal Pavilion? Chen Xian was already so old, so it was still a little difficult for him to address Ling Xiao as Grand Master Ling Xiao. That's what puzzles me as well. Their ultimate goal is the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion, which means that the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion has something that they must obtain. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and finally landed on Lu De. Lu De had already thoroughly offended Yin Yang. Now that he had sided with Ling Xiao, he naturally wanted to make a contribution and let Ling Xiao see his value. When he saw Ling Xiao looking at him, he immediately said, "Young Master Long, although Yun Yang and Ji Chen are very tight-lipped, I once overheard that the reason why they wanted to take the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion is because there's something under the pavilion." Underground? What is it? Ling Xiao, Ni Shang, Chen Xian, and the rest couldn't help but ask as their eyes lit up. I'm not very sure either. I only vaguely heard them say that. Lu De shook his head. That explains it all. No matter what treasures, relics, or even cave abodes are under the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion, if they want to obtain it, they must first have the pavilion in their hands. Ling Xiao said slowly. I thought of it too. Previously, a mysterious person contacted me and said that he was interested in the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion and wanted to buy it at a high price. However, I didn't agree. Chen Xian suddenly said with a trace of coldness in his eyes. It seems that if he's not from the Great Zhou Divine Nation, then he's from the Pill Talisman Mountain. Since the treasure is under the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion, then it belongs to the War God Hall. Ji Chen and Yun Yang, those two scumbags, are really reckless. Gao Yang sneered. No matter what, let's first investigate and see what's under the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. Ling Xiao said finally. No one said anything and the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion continued to operate. However, in just one day, the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion had sold out all the tribulation-breaking pills that had been in the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion for the past few years. Many of the servants and stewards in the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion were very excited and looked at Ling Xiao with reverence. They clearly saw what happened during the day. It was because of Ling Xiao that the crisis was resolved and the tribulation-breaking pills became famous, causing the entire divine capital to explode. At night, Ling Xiao directly used the Flipping Sky Seal to suppress and activated the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion's array to isolate all auras and probing. He was prepared to see what was under the ground. The ground under the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion was made of hard mountain rocks, but it couldn't escape the senses of Ling Xiao and Ni Shang's consciousness. They even probed down to 100,000 feet below but still found nothing. There's nothing? That's strange. Chen Xian's eyes were filled with doubt. Everyone could clearly sense that there was nothing under the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. The thing that Ji Chen and Yun Yang are looking for can't be deep underground. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to go through so much trouble to obtain the War God Alchemy Seal Pavilion. They could just dig down from the side. Ling Xiao nodded. His senses were extremely sharp, but he also didn't find anything. Long Outyen, I once heard of a legend, but that was 1,000,000 years ago. I'm afraid very few people know about it now. Ji Feishuan suddenly said. What legend? Ling Xiao asked. Legend has it that the ancestor of the Great Zhou Divine Nation was a peerlessly talented supreme emperor. However, too much time had passed, and the bloodline of the Ji clan was cut off. The emperor clan bloodline couldn't continue, so in the end, it was reduced to a mere divine nation. However, when the Great Zhou Divine Nation was first established, the Crown Prince unintentionally awakened a powerful bloodline. However, he couldn't control the power contained in the bloodline, causing him to go crazy and slaughter tens of thousands of his own clan. When the crown prince woke up, he was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. In order not to harm his own clan, legend has it that he committed suicide in a secret place in the divine capital. From then on, he completely disappeared. Later on, the experts of the Ji clan believed that the crown prince might have awakened the emperor clan bloodline. Ji Feishuan said slowly, "You're saying that the war god alchemy seal pavilion might be the place where the crown prince committed suicide? This is too unbelievable." Gao Yang couldn't help but exclaim. "It's very likely. Legend has it that the place where the crown prince committed suicide was like a mustard seed. Even the sages who came to the divine capital didn't find any traces." Ji Feishuan said, "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.